Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Alexiats here. It's Friday, TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. But too bad the Raptors lost the first game to Washington last night. Well, we get to play them again tomorrow. And this is what I'm going to say. We probably were going to lose one of these two games in Washington no matter what. Well, we lost the one last time. We need to damn for sure make sure we adjust, come with a better effort, and win on Saturday. The game's at 5 o'clock on Saturday, just so you guys know also. And the 9:05 game tomorrow will be at 2 o'clock. So we're getting all our basketball during the day on Saturday, just so y'all know. So 2 o'clock, 9:05, 5 o'clock Raptors versus Washington for the second time. Yeah, I'm really pissed off about last night's game. Obviously, a lot of people are that are Raptor fans. There's a lot of disappointment because, listen, I'm going to say it right once again. I talked a lot yesterday about being prepared for this game, coming in and being the capable team at the beginning, start off right and get off on the good foot. They didn't do that last night. It really annoyed me. Well, part of the reason why I made the picture for the stream, that picture of Siakam, is that's a picture of him earlier in the day before the game. They do a practice interview with him, warm up interview, whatever. I hate when they interview him on game day. You guys got to stop asking Siakam questions on game day because this is twice in a row. The press comes, Savannah Hamilton, and comes ask Pascal after on day of the game. Don't ask him questions because every time I see him in that interview before the game, he looks tired. He looks depressed. He looks energetic. He looks like I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with Siakam right now? Like, why does he look so like worn out? Why is his eyes bloodshot? Why does he look so fucking tired? And then later in the game, he has a good first half. He scores 13 points in the first half, and then he doesn't score a single damn point in the second half last night. Did you guys notice that? A lot of people did not notice this about in the game last night. That Siakam had 13 at the half. Well, how much did he have at the end of the game? 13 points. Yeah, there's something wrong with Siakam. There's things that are bothering me about Pascal Siakam right now. I feel like he's too casual. You're too casual, bro. You may be diehard about working out and doing the schedule and the routine and putting the work in, but there's something about you that's too casual still, and it's pissing me off. And whoever's interviewing him before the game, and he looks tired and he looks like he's depressed and sad, stop doing that. Because every time I see Siakam in that mode, he comes out and he has a shitty game later. So he should be off the list to talk to before the game. Just don't talk to Siakam, Savannah, please, because I've seen this trend. This is twice. Y'all have put him on blast before the game with a really crappy pregame interview where he looks absolutely like dog shit. His energy looks like dog shit. He looks absolutely tired. You tell me what he looks like in the picture for this stream. Seriously, go look at that picture and tell me how Siakam's energy looks and his eyes. And he's just, I don't know what the fuck. Are you guys doing some partying in Washington or something? Is there a problem with being in DC right now? Is this like the Toronto trap for opposing players here? You guys going down to DC and doing something stupid at night or something? What the fuck is wrong with y'all to come to the game and show up with the energy that you guys came with? Poeltl after the game was very disappointed in this game. His interview was very interesting. He was kind of criticizing his teammates and saying that we need to come out and be more communicative and on defense and helping each other, and we need to come with better effort. You know, there were guys last night that were absolute dead notes on the piano that Nick Nurse likes to play. You know, if the players have different notes on his piano, that he needs to play a melody to get a win and have that melody, that music sound nice. Well, some of those notes, when he hit it, the string wasn't attached to the part in the hammer, the piano that makes the noise. It's like, you know how it is when you get to a piano and one of those notes is just not working functionally because it's detached inside. Well, that is what happened last night with a couple of those guys last night. And it was crazy because it was some of the most important players on our team were dead notes last night. And I hate that. I hate that so much. It's like we can't have so many guys taking the night off for being shitty for the night. There's got to be more stepping up and being there. And as Nick Nurse put it, competing. He said that we did not compete tonight. We did not compete. We did not show up and compete with the Washington Wizards last night. And I hate that so much. I really, really do. Let me go over my 3 stars real quick. For the game, for the Raptors game last night. The number 1 star, obviously, is OG Anunoby. Listen, OG didn't have a good first half. In fact, he was one of the dead notes in the first half. But at some point in the second half, he woke up. and he got crazy, and he was actually trying to will us to the game. He was the superstar that was trying to take things over at the end of the game. It wasn't Scottie. It wasn't Fred. It wasn't Pascal. It was OG. And he ended up at the end of the game with 26 points, 9 of 16 shooting, 4 of 9 from three, 4 of 4 from the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, a block, plus 7, 26 points. OG, a very commendable, heroic effort in the second half. We needed everybody to be stepping up like you in the second half and doing stuff, scoring baskets. You were carrying the water. And I appreciate that from you, OG. So you're my number one star, and you're somebody who's not going to get my criticism today because you played your ass off, and I really appreciate you showing up and doing this. We saw him back in rhythm, and thank God. Second star of the game is with the double-double is Poeltl. You know, since Jakob has shown up, he's been one of my 3 stars every single game except for the first game against the Jazz. He has been one of the 3 stars, one of the 3 best players in every single Raptor game he's played in, except for that first one against the Jazz. 23 points, 13 rebounds, 8 of 9 shooting, 7 of 7 at the free throw line. Mike, maybe you were right. I might have to apologize to you, Logical Raptors fanatic, because I'm shocked that Poeltl shot 7 for 7 at the free throw line, and that the whole Raptors team was perfect at the line for the first time this season. 17 for 17. Every single Raptor made every single free throw that they were given last night. And I commend them for that. I wish that I could say they won on a game where they got every single free throw that they shot. But yeah, Poeltl, listen, I don't know if he's just concentrating more. I don't know what it is. Maybe the difference is that it's San Antonio. They're not really serious about winning, so he doesn't really care. So he's just like, whatever. But now he knows everything really matters here with Toronto and trying to make the playoffs and our run and stuff, that he's like, I don't want to be part of the problem by being a 50% free throw shooter. So now all of a sudden, the dude is really concentrating and he's making them. You're a badass, Jakob. I just said a couple days ago, don't expect him to get better at free throw shooting. Well, he showed it last night, 7 of 7, fantastic. Also 4 offensive rebounds for Jakob, really big. 4 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks, a plus 9, 23 points. You know, Jakob, you're trying, you're busting your ass, you're doing work. I wish you other guys around you were inspired to do it just like you, but unfortunately, that's not the case. I could give another starter the 3rd star, but I'm not going to, because honestly, I don't feel like any of them played at that high of a level. I mean, Scottie was okay. He wasn't super bad, but once again, Scottie could stepped up, and he did make some poor mistakes too during the game at times. But Boucher, I'm going to give him the 3rd star off the bench. 4 of 6 from the field. He hit both his 3-point attempts. In fact, he had this one move. I've never seen Chris Boucher do this before. He did a Gary move where he had the ball inside the 3-point line, but he stepped outside of the 3-point line to make it a 3, and then he drained it. He very much looked like a shooting guard, and it was a motion that I've never seen Chris do in a game before, and he was successful. I was like, oh my gosh. Chris just did a dribble step back to the 3-point line and made the 3. That was awesome. He had 2 free throws he made, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 blocks. He was a minus 16 with 12 points, but still, off the bench, we didn't get jack shit other than him. 12 points from him off the bench, and then 6 altogether off the bench otherwise. That is horrible. And Chris, you are my 3rd star. Just alone for that step back 3. That was amazing. You know, I'm going to go ahead and critique the guys here. I mean, I should wait and see how you guys go about it, and I'll go off of that. But those are my 3 stars for the game. Anunoby, Poeltl, and Boucher. MSJ saying, game was the perfect execution of a train wreck. Fred VanVleet firing away. Nick Nurse plays those lineups, keeping Yak glued to the bench. Why? Precious is question mark, exclamation point. Then more Fred and Gary chucking made Gafford look godlike. Okay, I want to take this apart because some of it's fair and some of it isn't totally fair. We'll put it that way. Listen, Nick Nurse really fucked up last night. I'm not going to disagree. Nick Nurse did a horrible job coaching this game last night. I know a lot of people are coming after Nick Nurse today for it, and I don't disagree with them. I mean, seriously, Nick, what the fuck are you doing, bro, with your rotations? You know, the whole period of time without Jakob that you took for the second quarter was destroyed the game. And we really did get fucked up with that lineup with Thad and Will Barton out there. That lineup was really bad. It was so ineffective and so bad that it probably turned the game off for us in a lot of ways in that stretch. Now, people were saying, like, why didn't you play Jakob the whole entire third quarter? You played him 10 minutes in the first quarter, and then you did not show him again for the whole second quarter. Well, I'm going to tell you why Nick did this. It really was that he wanted to save Jakob for the whole second half, and he thought he could get away with not playing him in the second quarter. Well, he was wrong, and it wasn't a good decision. It really, really wasn't. Precious had a really off night. This is very true. He was not doing things correctly like he normally does. His defense was on and off, wasn't totally right. And obviously his offensive game was struggling last night. But you know what? Listen, we can't expect these guys to be perfect night in, night out. It's just we had too many guys not perfect or not playing well last night. Precious 1 for 2, only took 2 shots, 4 rebounds, 1 block, a turnover, minus 15, only 2 points in 13 minutes. So let's put it this way. You guys may be upset that Precious was out there for the second quarter, and you should be. But he rectified it by not playing him in the second half is really what happened. Precious did not get to play later. And, because he did play so bad in the first. Now, let's talk about Fred. Listen, Freddie's a weird one for last night. In some ways, I could say he had a bad game. He really did. Because once again, we have not seen him return with his jump shot. This is one of the worst things about what's happening is basically you got Pascal who played half the game, played 13 points in the first half and didn't show up for anything in the second half. And then you have Fred who's not doing anything. These are your 2 most important players on this team. You need at least one of them going. If you don't have either one of them going, then you're fucked in some ways if you're the Raptors. So these guys have to be leaders and show up night in, night out and make production no matter what. It was tough because Fred has not found his outside shot yet, and he does not want to go in down low and try and make stuff near the basket either right now. So this is a real problem, Freddie. You got to find your rhythm and your stroke. I know you had a baby. I know it was your birthday. I know somebody died. But still, this is awful because basically what's happened is you were in a rhythm and you were doing really well before the All-Star break. Then we had the All-Star break and you took 2 weeks off. And now you have to try and get your rhythm and get back into good playing again in a really important stretch run. And this sucks, bro. We really couldn't have you act like this. I really do feel like you did the opposite of what Chris Boucher did over the All-Star break. Chris worked every single day. In fact, in his interview after the game last night, he corrected the interviewer for saying, your break, taking the All-Star break. And he said, no, I didn't take an All-Star break. I worked every single damn day at the OVO Center and did not take a day off. The whole entire time, everybody was on All-Star break. That was what Chris did. Well, I think Fred did the opposite. He did not do a single damn basketball thing for 2 weeks or during the whole All-Star break. He was worried about the baby coming, and that makes sense. But it's really showing in your play right now, Fred, that you got that detached from basketball for that long in the middle of this stretch run. It really is bad. Because we needed you at a high level right now. We need you at a high level. And because you took 2 weeks off around the All-Star break and then 3 games after it, it really shows you have rust and you're not effective right now in some ways. Now, the one stat that's saving him in the war of information about Fred VanVleet and whether he's good for this team or not is his plus minus. That is a stat that everyone can look at. In fact, it's true, though. Listen, the guys that played, they had a really good stat differential. It's really the bench minutes were really bad last night. Somebody on Twitter, his name is Chris Black. He has a tweet I'm going to read verbatim. The Raptors last night, 30 minutes with Fred VanVleet, Scottie Barnes, OG Anunoby, and Siakam on the court, 78 points with only 63 against. That's a plus 15. And the opponent shot 47% shooting. Now, the other 18 minutes of the game, that's 30 minutes of the game with primarily the starters, we outscored them by 15. Now, with the other 18 minutes of the game, we only scored 30 points, and we had 56 against us. That's a minus 26 differential. So you see where the difference in the score is. And then 57% opponent shooting with the other guys on the court. 56 points allowed in 18 minutes is a lot. Yeah, See, that's the fucked up thing. Like, seriously, people say Fred's not a good defender and stuff like that. Well, tell me what the fuck then? Why was the defense way better when the starters were in there? And then you bring in these bench guys and there's no defense at all. I mean, I could blame that second quarter unit, like we already have, of Precious, Gary, Chris, Thaddeus, and Will Barton or whatever, if you want to. And that, yeah, it is really kind of their fault. So this is really messed up, really, really messed up. The bench the rotation that Nick did last night was an absolute failure. And then he still had to overplay the starters by the end of the game. You know, Fred 40 minutes, SIAKAM 39, OG 38, Scottie 36. So they didn't get under the 35-minute threshold. But we really don't have as much of a bench at this point because they're all at 905. Because we had 6 guys off the bench with the 5 guys who played off the bench and Malachi, because Otto's not playing anymore. We have 11-man roster on the road right now. So, oh my gosh, if there's so many dead notes on the piano, this is what happens. We had dead notes in the starting lineup and dead notes in the bench also. Really, really bad. As far as Gafford, you mentioned Gafford here and making him look godlike. You know, I did not play him on my fantasy team last night, so I did not collect his stats. Gafford was 8 for 10, 2 or 3 from the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block, 18 points, plus 12. The only thing that Gafford was really good about was getting lobs, and those were impressive, sure. They were nice for Wizards fans to see Gafford get up there and throw them down and stuff like that. But honestly, he wasn't really like too much. I mean, he was a problem, sure. But it wasn't like in that way. It was just like these open lobs and stuff like that. Meanwhile, on the flip, with the Raptors, you know, the Wizards are showing connectivity. They're showing that they've been working with this unit for a while now, a couple months, and they're showing that they have more reps together. We really are a thrown together team just in the last couple weeks with Jakob and Will. And we have problems with connectivity right now. There's all kinds of issues with passes between guys. There was one point where Pascal threw the ball so fast at Scottie in the lane that he hit him in the face with the ball, and he wasn't ready for the pass. There was a lot of times where we would throw passes to people to try and get them the ball down low, and they weren't ready for the pass. It's either they weren't looking for it, or the pass was way too quick, or was a pass that wasn't easy to handle. There's all kinds of that stuff. In fact, that one transition play where Scottie found Jakob and he caught the ball and he put it in, that was really difficult and wasn't an easy play. And it wasn't a good pass from Scott in some ways, but Jakob cleaned it up and made sure it happened still. They're not passing very clean. They're really trying some quick, like impulsive kind of throw it to him real quick kind of passes. And dudes just aren't ready for them. Like they're not used to each other in a way. So there's an interconnectedness between the Raptors that is lacking still. This has been something that's been a problem all season where they don't seem like they're on the same page or connecting. And we said at some point during the season, maybe they need to do passing drills before the game, back and forth, so they get real used to passing in between each other or something, because the connections are not getting connected. They're having good ideas. Oh, Scott, you have a good idea. Throw this ball real quick down to OG, but you guys aren't making the pass successful. It's going out of bounds, or somebody's not like paying attention, or it's just a really hard to handle pass. And there was too much of that last night. Too much of like not being connected in that way, and that causes a problem for the Raptors on their offense. Jakob said another reason why we had problems was these guys, and he mentioned Fred straight up. He said, we shoot open threes and we don't make them, then it's real easy for them to get in transition, because a three-pointer will cause a long rebound. The rebound is close. It will become closer. You're closer. It won't bounce so far out. Well, if you're shooting a very long three and you brick it and it comes out and one of the Wizards grabs the rebound and they're already like near the three-point line and they just take off, well, our transition defense isn't going to be ready. So we saw at the end of the game, when Fred misses those wide open threes, they contributed directly to more scores for the Wizards. In fact, we were holding the Wizards really well at 99 for a while there, if you noticed, and we were coming back. We scored like 10 straight points in the fourth quarter and held them at 99, and we got it to like 89-99 or 90-99. And then Fred took a three, and he missed it. As you put it, he chucks it. He's not really chucking. He's trying to find his shot again. He'll make it. He'll make it again. He's got to fine tune to find his shot again because he fucking took too long off. So basically, he shoots that three and it bricks and it comes out, and Washington's off to the races. DeLon Wright. And boom, they get an easy basket in transition with Porzingis on a dunk or something like that. That fucked us up right there. Like you got to make those threes, Fred. I'm sorry, bro. I can't defend you when you're not hitting any of these big shots at the end of the game like you did last year to carry us home to victories. And then Gary being absolutely shite in the first half. He didn't even get much looks late in the second half, and he ended up with 4 points. So once again, there's another dead note on the piano. Gary Trent Jr. not coming through with his normal contributions off the bench. I say all these things about him. Oh, he can do it off the bench or starting. It doesn't matter. Gary's going to be Gary. Well, Gary wasn't Gary last night, and he shot really bad percentage. He was 2 of 7. He only got 2 3-point attempts. He missed both of them. 3 rebounds, a minus 26. He had the worst minus last night, 4 points. So it's like they really didn't play good defense. That second quarter bench unit didn't play good defense, and Gary was outscored by 26 on the floor. That's absolutely horrible. So, we don't have Pascal in the second half. We don't have Fred back for his rhythm because he took 2 weeks off, and now we have a Gary Trent Jr. not show up game because he's cold. And he's off the bench. He doesn't get chances later. So we're very limited with our clutch shooters for the end of the game. We really are. So that's why OG's stepping up and trying to carry water at the end of the game because Siakam's not anywhere. He's absolutely absent. Like I said, Siakam did not score a single damn point in the third or fourth quarter yesterday. I'm serious, y'all. He did not get it to the free throw line. He did not make a single shot. What the fuck is that, Pascal? And what is going on with you? Seriously, y'all watch that practice interview before the game and look at his energy and wonder why he only got 13 points last night and didn't score in the second half. Something's wrong with Siakam. What are you doing that's tiring you out or depressing you or making you all fucked up on certain game days? Seriously, there's certain game days you look fine. You're up, you have energy, and some game days you look like shit, Siakam, like yesterday. And when I saw you in the practice interview before the game, I was like, what the fuck? Siakam's in one of these weird, like, all fucked up moods again. Last time this happened, we lost. And I was a little worried during the day because I saw that interview. And I was like, fuck, why is Siakam like this today? Seriously, where's your energy, bro? Where's your positivity? Are you drinking too many goddamn Red Bulls and crashing? Is that what's fucking happening, Siakam? Are you Red Bulling it up? Oh, I don't drink coffee. I drink Red Bull. Red Bull you're going to fucking crash if you drink Red Bulls during the game. Don't be like Daryl Armstrong of the Orlando Magic back in the day. Daryl Armstrong, caffeine bunny. That motherfucker was eating chocolate and drinking whole pots of coffee at halftime. He was using caffeine highs to get good at games. Don't you fucking use your sponsorship to game your game. I don't want to see you fucking chugging Red Bulls before the game or at halftime. It does not help your game. Trust me. Because at some point, you're going to crash. That's the only way Red Bull works. You get wings, but you crash eventually, motherfucker. So don't be drinking Red Bulls around the game. Seriously, if you're doing that, Siakam, that's not healthy or good. I know that you endorse them. It's a product, whatever. But you don't need to be drinking no Red Bulls around NBA games, Siakam. If you're doing that, you drank a bunch of Red Bulls at halftime, you crashed, and you were just, I can't play well, coach. I need him another Red Bull. We're not going to give you a Red Bull on the bench. Siakam, come on now. Oh, my gosh. All right, let's see what Mike's saying this morning. Logical Raptors fanatic in the house. Check out his YouTube channel. MSJ, fair points. Fred's 3-ball is key to his spacing and his ability to penetrate the paint. Defenders have to stick to him, which allows for quick moves to get in front. We really needed Hero Fred. Yeah. This game, when no one is really going, he steps in to do something at least. Without a 3-ball, he couldn't go hero. This one is on him and the other guys, but the refs weren't calling anything for us, not gonna lie. I'm glad Mike brought that up too. This is true. We needed Fred hero ball last night. We really did. But we also could have used any of these other guys, like I said, to step up and do something. OG was the only one trying. Poeltl was working his ass off and trying to. Scottie. We needed fourth quarter Scottie. What was going on with you last night, Mr. Barnes? Very interesting, weird game with him. 14 points, 6 of 15 shooting. He missed all 3 of his 3-point shots. He made 2 free throws. 3 offensive rebounds, 5 assists, 3 turnovers, and 5 personal fouls, a -3. Now, Scottie wasn't absolutely horrible. He was just kind of ho-hum. But really, we didn't. The difference between this game and the last game with Scottie is that he didn't get all pissed off and say, I'm going to force my will in certain ways. Like, I'm going to get a block, or I'm going and getting these rebounds, or I'm going and doing this. There was a little bit of him trying to force his game down low near the basket, but he got blocked by Porzingis. There was some things they just weren't smart about how they were attacking the Wizards and how they took apart their defense. And they were having really good success with blocking us and messing up our shots and doing different things like that. So, Scottie, you're going to have to, this is part of being a young player. You're going to have to figure out, well, if that spot is closed or that avenue to be successful on offense is closed, you're going to have to do different things. And you're going to have to read it all, and you're going to have to adjust, and you're going to have to figure it out. I don't think Scottie was that horrible. But once again, as I talked earlier, the interconnectedness of the team is really related to him. And that when he throws these really good passes to people down low and they're not ready for them and they're bouncing off people's faces or they're just going to their feet or they're going out of bounds, that's bad. And I want them to really work on this interconnectedness. It really is a problem. The referees, Mike has brought up the ref crew. Tony Brothers was what I said he would be, and he did reward the team that worked hardest, and that was the Wizards. Unfortunately, we did not show up with the right effort to get on his good side. And in some ways, he did call some bullshit, though, on both sides. He at one point, he gave a technical to the Wizards that was really funny, and it was Goodwin. And then there was there was a travel call on Goodwin, and he sassed Tony Brothers, and Tony did get a little pissed off, and he did take out a little bit on the Wizards. But we were not playing right. I mean, the travels that he called were fair. The different calls were kind of fucked up. They weren't really fucked up. The refs were pretty good. But the one thing the refs did that didn't help us was they swallowed the whistle. In fact, there was a very comical part of the game later in the game in the second half where they really swallowed the whistle. There were fouls all over the place. And they let them go up and down the court a couple times with the ugliest basketball where there were fouls all over the place, but they weren't calling any fouls. I mean, I guess they decided this is going to be a stretch in the game that we're not going to call any fouls or something because people were getting hammered and hit. And even the Washington announcers were saying, yeah, they're not calling any fouls. That's a foul on our Wizard on Boucher on that call. And they didn't even call it. You know the call I'm talking about is Boucher was near the basket and he went up and they hammered him and he went to the ground and they didn't call jack shit. So they swallowed the whistle for a while in this game. And in some ways, I don't mind that. But in some ways, I hate it because, like, what the fuck? You're all right. Now, all of a sudden, you're going to start calling the whistle again, even though you just didn't call the whistle for like 3 or 4 trips down the court. And people were getting hammered and getting fouled, but you don't want to fucking call the whistle? What the fuck? So in some ways, that's my biggest gripe with the referees last night. Is the swallowing of the whistle and allowing a heavy contact in the game last night. Some ways that helps us, but not when we're not the energetic team and we're not the bully team. We're not the team imposing our physicalness on people. Then it doesn't help because that helps the other team that is doing it more than us. And that really was the case. And that is maybe the number one reason why we lost last night. We weren't the aggressor. We weren't more physical. We weren't competing. As Nick Nurse put it, we did not compete. So on Saturday, they better damn compete. And the 5 o'clock start time will be a little weird, like last week with Detroit at noon. So they have to be ready for a little bit earlier start time on Saturday and play way better from the start. Giving up 10 points, 10-0 at the beginning of the game? What the fuck, Raptors? That shows me y'all aren't prepared for the game. Y'all aren't coming out there. All that shit I said yesterday about Scottie's first game in the NBA against Washington in his rookie season and how they fucking lost that game. Well, last night was very similar to that. They came out flat. They gave up a big lead, and then they played from behind the whole game, and they were shit, and then they lost. That is exactly like that Scotiabank Arena game when we returned from the Tampa season in the opening game of the season last year. Same MO. Scottie, you got to learn from your mistakes. You learned from that opening game, your debut as an NBA player. Well, you should have applied some of the lessons from that game so you didn't have to learn that lesson again last night. Let's see. MSJ saying he could have stepped in and ran an offense, but whatever. My main concern is getting Malachi out of here before he starts procreating. Laugh out loud. All right, this is something I didn't bring up. This has been going on this week that I could have. there's a controversy around the Raptors team. And in some ways, I didn't really want to bring it up because, I don't want to put more of the noise out there. But yeah, they made a miscalculation with the Raptors Instagram or social media accounts. This month is Women's Appreciation Month or Women's Month. I'm not sure what they call it officially, but March is women's. It's just like Black Heritage Month was last month. This is supposed to be Women's History or Heritage Month, I guess. And the Raptors want to put out stuff to celebrate these things and stuff. Well, they put something out on Wednesday that just wasn't really. It was tone deaf. It was kind of dumb, and they got a lot of backlash. It was immediately ratioed as far as things on Twitter. And all the social justice warriors and the enlightened people that in the Raptors fan base were like, no, this is fucked up. You can't be putting this out. It's crazy. And the epicenter of it is young Malachi Flynn, unfortunately. And in some ways, this may honestly indirectly cause him to have an exit from the team. It's very true. He said something. I don't even think it's his fault. I think it's the editor's fault for leaving it in. He's a young guy. He's just being honest. You got to understand also that Malachi Flynn is a child of like 12 children or something like that. Seriously, his parents have a lot of kids. So when he said that comment about women are good for procreating, that really sounded bad. Like I just said it just now, and it sounded bad when I said it. Women are good for procreating. Ooh, Malachi Flynn. Yeah, they've been backtracking and trying to deal with this in all kinds of different ways to try and make things better in this whole regard. Really, really crazy. I feel bad for Malachi because it's not totally his fault. The Raptors social media people need to be fucking smarter, is basically what it is. Oh my gosh. So crazy. You guys will probably find the clip somewhere, but a lot of people are really upset with it, and rightfully so. Logical saying Tingus was negating Poeltl's. I hate that. Don't fucking give him a nickname, Tingus. That's fucking stupid, Mike. What is this? Are you gonna call Embiid JoJo too? Fuck all that shit. They don't get cute nicknames. He's Porzingis, okay? Was negating Poeltl's abilities as a dump option and board man, which the crowded paint still works if Poeltl is getting outmanned with Gafford in there too. So Miss Bunny's a lot. Yeah, that double center lineup was a problem for us. And then Poeltl didn't have enough help. They were, all right, let me do the team stats real quick because the stuff that I said was important for them to do yesterday to win did not happen. And one of them was the shooting. Obviously, the shooting was really important. I wanted them to outshoot the Wizards. And that means finding them and guarding them better and making them shoot a lower percentage than us. Well, that didn't happen. We did get 8 more shots on goal than them, field goal attempts, but we made 2 less field goals overall. We shot 45%. They shot 51% from the field. That's no good. And then their high average shooting average really, really didn't help. 3-pointers, even worse. We shot 27% from 3. That really is a lot of Fred and Gary. Not Gary as much because he just didn't take as many shots, only 2. But that's a lot of Fred and a lot of the other guys, 9 of 33 from 3. And then meanwhile, they take 3 less 3-pointers and they make 5 more threes than us. 47% from the field for Bradley Beal and company from 3. And Kuzma was a big part of that too. Kuzma was maybe the best player on the court last night. And that is too bad. I hate that. I know that Kuzma had some crossover with Scottie this past summer. They were both playing at this Utah game, Utah charity game, Pro-Am, and they were the best players on their opposite teams. And in that game last summer, there was a lot of trash talking between Kyle Kuzma and Scottie Barnes. And they were the 2 leading scorers for their opposite teams. Well, Kuzma killed it in that game. He scored so many points in that game, in that Pro-Am last summer. And that you can tell that he may be getting up for us because I think he has something that he wants to prove towards Scottie Barnes and kicking his ass. So, because Kuzma was very good last night. He was the one who was like just taking shots whenever he wanted to and burying them. 10 of 24, 4 of 9 from 3, 6 of 8 from the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, 30 points, a +3. Kyle Kuzma was the dominant number 1 player on the court last night, and I hate that. And then you can say in some ways that Porzingis was number 2 on the court. So what the fuck? The 2 best players on the court are Wizards. We're going to lose. So we needed somebody to step up and be the best player on the court other than one of those Wizards. It could have been Siakam. It could have been Fred. OG was working on it, but it didn't happen. I really love that the Raptors shot 17 for 17 at the free throw line. Obviously, that's fantastic, but too bad it's in a losing effort. The rebounds were exactly even. In fact, we had 13 rebounds offensively, and that was huge. Those were huge, huge rebounds. But they had 9 offensive rebounds themselves, and they were probably more effective at getting scores off their second chance than we were. It seems like we get a lot of offensive rebounds, but we're still not converting near the basket, whether it's just missing or getting agitated or fouled and it's not called, whatever it is, we're not converting near the basket well enough. So you add in that lack of connectivity with the passing, then you add in the bunnies and the close baskets are getting missed. In fact, we had a fucking pathetic ass layup miss by Siakam late in the game. What the fuck was that, Siakam? You were right there. You just need to dunk it, bro. Why did you throw that half-ass, lame-ass motherfucking layup that went up on the back of the rim and rolled right off of it and didn't go in? That was the most pathetic thing I've ever fucking seen from an all-NBA, all-star game team player. Like, what the fuck was that, Siakam? Seriously. You missed a fucking layup in clutch time. That wasn't a 3. That wasn't something with something, I know there was a defender near you, but I don't give a shit. You got to convert that shot. That's crazy that you missed that layup like that. You should have dunked it. Oh my gosh. I was so mad at him when he missed that. And then they replayed it. And I was like, look, how the fuck does he miss that? Seriously, y'all know exactly the play I'm talking about. When Siakam missed that. That was really bad. 8 steals for us, 5 for them, 7 blocks for us, 4 for them. Those aren't bad. We did get 28 assists. So even though we weren't interconnected in that way, we're still finding assists because we just had to score off each other. We couldn't do anything isolation. So anything we made was still getting assisted. So the 28 assists is actually a good number. And then, no fast break points. 4 fast break points for the whole fucking game. They did something good to stop us from getting in transition. And then points in the paint, another place we did well, but it didn't matter. 56 to 52 in points in the paint. So the team stats, the important ones were the shooting, and it just didn't happen well enough. Oh my gosh, makes me so mad. Let's see. Mike is saying also that's the week of big centers, but we have the future solution to the issue, the better of both worlds. Konono, faster than power forwards and tallest centers, will be able to bang properly. The answer, in my opinion. All right, well, since you brought up Koloko, let's talk about the 905 game last night. A very successful, fantastic game. Very much a bright spot. Gubstown Clink was at the game, and he said in our chat on Facebook that it was one of the best 905 games he's ever been to. And he's been to quite a few 905 games. My 3 stars for the 905 last night, number 1 star is Jeff Dowtin Jr. Jeff Dowtin was fantastic. He was combining him scoring himself and distributing, very effectively weaving both together at the right times in the game last night with 26 points, but also 9 assists. He was 9-15 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3, 3 of 4 from the three-point line, free throw line, 5 rebounds, 9 assists, and +1. So Jeff Dowtin led the team really well. And they said after the game, Eric Curry's like, I just give Jeff the keys and let him run this team out there. And he did a very good job. Jeff's showing a lot of confidence from his recent time with the main squad in the rotation. He said he feels really, really confident right now because they showed some confidence in him in playing. And Jeff is growing as a young player, and it's really showing on the 905 right now. Now, Delano Banton didn't play because he was injured, but the other guys looked really good otherwise from the Raptors. I would really have a hard time trying to figure out who the other 2 stars are because there's a lot of guys to pick from. But I'm going to go ahead and say this. My second star is Sterling Brown. He was 7 of 13, 3 of 6 from 3, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, +7 with 17 points. Sterling was fantastic. It's in the starting lineup with the guys from the main roster that came down. He's just a really good scorer, and he is an NBA player. This guy is a good player, and he's going to be getting into the NBA in the next couple years. Watch. But I love the stat stuffing. 6 rebounds and 8 assists with 17 points. Good job, Sterling. And then my third star, I guess I'll give it to Joe Easy. Joe 7 of 13 himself, 3 of 8 from 3-point range, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 blocks for Joe Easy, +5 and 17 points himself. So yeah, my 3 stars for 905: Jeff Dowtin, Joe Wieskamp, and Sterling Brown. Koloko had a really good game, kind of a pretty good game. They didn't play a center, the Fort Wayne Mad Ants. So he really could operate, and he was 8 for 12, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block. Only had 4 fouls, which is pretty good. But right at the beginning of the game, they found Koloko for a lob and a dunk right at the very start of the game. And there was a lot of lobbing to him and dunking. And him and Kyler Kelly, the backup center, were really finding a lot of success against a smaller Mad Ants lineup. They really don't have anybody over, I think, 6'8" on that team that they were playing last night. So they really should have dominated and won that game, having centers against a no center team. Yeah, other people of note from the game: Ron Harper, a 5 for 9 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 12 points. David Johnson, not a very good game, 1 of 6 with 2 points, but he was a +15. Gabe Brown, 4 of 10, 3 3-pointers made, 11 points. Ryan Hawkins didn't shoot as well, but Eric Curry was really happy with Ryan Hawkins' effort on defense. They try and attack Hawkins as the weak link on defense, and he does a good job of kind of like not letting them get what they want as far as a disadvantage with him being on defense. And he actually steps up and plays really well on defense. That's what Eric Curry was saying about him. Tillman and Morsel had their bright spots at time. Morsel had 11 points, while Tillman had a really nice dunk at one point in the game. And then Kyler Kelly, one of the really bright spots in the game last night, with his first double-double ever professionally, 12 points, 11 rebounds for him, including 5 offensive rebounds, 5 of 10 from the field for Kyler Kelly. He got an interview after the game, and he was kind of a weird, quirky guy. Listening to him, his interview, he's like, very interesting. I don't know. He's very skinny. He doesn't have a lot of muscle, so he really is going to be limited in what he's going to do in his career until he gets more bulk. Kyler Kelly. But great job, 905. Glad you put on a good, entertaining game out there in Mississauga yesterday. Being home helped. And they're going to play them again tomorrow at 2 o'clock. So get the sweep against the Mad Ants. Eric Curry's saying that every game now is like a playoff game for them, that they really are going to try and push and make the G League playoffs. And that the 2 losses recently to the Windy City Bulls were a wake-up call for them, that they really hated losing those 2 games right after the All-Star break. And that now or right before, whenever it was, now they really got to get serious. If they want to make it to the G League playoffs, they have to win almost every single game going out. And they're determined to try and do this. So I think by having the 2 ways and Koloko and Wieskamp with that team and Delano, they do have a good shot to try and win it out. But they have to play at a very high level. And it could be very entertaining, the 905's run to try and finish this end of the season. So I'm all here for it. I'm glad to hear what they're all about, because I thought they were a little listless and kind of directionless for a while this season. I'm like, what the fuck are y'all doing, 905? What are you trying to do down there? Are you just trying to develop? Are you trying to win? Or what are you doing? Well, Eric Curry's saying they're trying to win. They're going to try and sneak in the playoffs somehow, some way, by winning as many games as possible in the month of March. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, Konono will look good. He was solid. He was solid. He wasn't like one of the main big players like Sterling Brown and Jeff Dowtin, but he did really solidly contribute, and he didn't make a lot of mistakes, and he didn't look bad. Let's just put it that way. He just played solid. Very, very solid. Guardian Transit's here. Good morning to Guardian. Logical. Koloko is 2 years away from even resembling competent in the lineup. I listen, there's a lot of debate about this. There's a lot of anxious people in Raptors Nation that want to see Koloko on the main roster right now. They're saying, why the fuck is Precious our backup center when we have this young man who could be our backup center with height and play center? Well, he's not ready. Guardian's right. And I have to agree with this. Like the part of the struggles we've had this season, earlier in the first half of the season, where we were overplaying Koloko too much, and he was hurting us. There may be a certain thing with the plus minus that looks good, and there may be some things that, yes, he is a defensive presence, and he makes it harder for teams to score down low. But there's all kinds of trade-offs that are negative also with him on the court, and that's wherewithal, that's smarts, that's just making the right plays, just having the intelligence. He's got to build that still. The NBA intelligence of reps and doing things. And that's why 905 is so invaluable for him, because he'll get more in-game experience quicker on 905 than he will on the main roster. And also, he won't hurt us as bad because on the main roster, he was hurting us. It may have seemed like, oh, he's so great and perfect, but there were things he was doing on the down low. And with him and Scottie also both being out there at the same time, there were times it was like, this is too young for our team, too inexperienced. And this is part of the reason why the Raptors are losing a lot this season and having bad games where we just lose, is because maybe there was too much time with too many youngsters on the court, and we needed more smarts and vet kind of know-how. So yeah, that's part of it. I don't think it'll be 2 years. I think that if he gets 2 years, like this year and next year of G League, and then maybe in his third year, he can blossom and just be a main roster tool in our rotation. But we'll see. We'll see. I think he needs 2 years down there, just like Delano. Delano should have been getting this 2 year, his second year right now. And Koloko will be fine after that. He'll get better and better quickly, but we'll see. Space Cadet's here. Good to see Space Cadet. The second quarter rotations were downright terrible. That's what lost the game. Nick has some soul searching to do. Yeah, I've been like defending you, Nick, against a lot of people this year. I've been defending Fred against a lot of people this year. Listen, it's really getting to the point where you guys got to understand, you want to keep this band together. You want to keep things all right and good. You got to win, because every time y'all lose, it's going to look like, all right, people are going to call for Nick's head. People are going to say they want Fred traded off this team. It really is. Y'all need to not only play for wins and for the Raptors, but you have to play for yourselves. Play for, like, if you really do love this core and you really do love having Nick Nurse as your coach, y'all need to fucking win, because you're giving more ammunition to the people that don't want Nick Nurse to coach this team. And Nick, you can't be fucking around with your rotation like this. It's so late in the season. It's like you've got to kind of like, I know you have to be daring and try and figure out how to play Will Barton with this team. But so far, he's not showed up and done anything of note. He was really bad last night, honestly. I gave him a pass on the first game because he just showed up off the plane, and he didn't practice or anything. Well, this game last night was really bad, and he did not give us anything that we want from him. He was 0 of 2. 1 3 he shot was missed, and he got 1 steal. He was a -10 with 0 points. Will Barton has not scored as a Raptor yet, and that scares me, because he's got what? He's got like 11 or 12 minutes played so far. Yeah, we need you to score quickly and soon, and look for it. Don't be unselfish. In some ways, you may need to be an asshole and just fucking be selfish and take your shots. Be like Gary in a way, because we need you to just do that. Don't be sheepish. Just be aggressive and don't worry about stepping on toes, especially in a game like last night. I know you didn't get to play in the second half, Will, but in some ways, if you're selfish and you don't even pass it to anybody and you just keep taking shots for a little bit just to get going for yourself, I'd be happy, because we're not getting you ingratiated into the lineup or rotation correctly yet. And you've got to show that you can be an offensive engine and score some points. And you have not shown that yet. That's really bad, really, really bad. But yeah, Nick is getting targeted for a lot of criticism today, and rightfully so. I am all about like getting on him for the rotation decisions he made last night, because they were pretty poor. Poeltl not playing in the second quarter was a huge mistake. You may need to give him a big chunk of the meat of each quarter, Nick. He is important part for us to be good defensively. It's just obvious. The stats are not lying. That Poeltl has been a huge upgrade, and you really need to watch when you play him and you don't play him. He needs to be out there most of the game, unfortunately. If you play him 35 minutes every game, that's what you should do. And it may be like you play him 7 minutes of each quarter or something like that. What is 35, 4 into that? So it would be 9. So you're playing him like 8 of each quarter. So there's only like 4 minutes each quarter where he's not out there. And you just got to figure out where you're going to buy that time. And I don't know if Precious is a good backup center, but in some ways Stat is not. And maybe sometimes Precious isn't if he's not exactly right. So yeah, maybe we do need Koloko back. But that's the trade-off. I don't want Koloko to be away from 905 because it's valuable for him to be there. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Mike is also saying MSJ. No doubt. It wasn't pretty last night. We're syncing up the new look more. So it's going to happen, but we need the win. So it's key to limit those moments a bit. Guardian transit longer to get starter. Okay, I don't know what that means. Yeah, this Mike's kind of describing what I'm trying to say too. Is like, while the Wizards have had their unit together this whole season, and they really could fine tune and be on the same page, we are really putting it all together at the last minute. It's almost like we had a class project, and we didn't work on it for like the first 3 weeks we had to do it, and it's a month to do it, and so now we're in the last week of being able to do it, and we're trying to cram in 3 weeks of work for what we should have done on the project into the last week. And that really is like, and that's acclimating Jakob and Will and just trying to figure out this new look. It's going to be like that. And the sad thing is we can't afford not to win. So the failure of like not doing things right with the rotation or the guys not playing well is going to be really bad. But it's necessary to a degree because we're still figuring things out, which sucks. Man, I wish they'd just been successful and won no matter what. But kudos to Washington for outplaying us. They really did outplay us, and they deserved to win that game last night more than we did. They did. MSJ saying Yak shot 90%, had the most free throws and 13 boards. Why even mention Koloko? He wasn't even on the bench. Play the game, not some theory. Our big Yak was our best player, and yes, to Space Cadet. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Jakob, we can't be critical of him. In fact, he was really disappointed. I'm telling you, he's very serious after the game. This dude is very serious about winning. Jakob Poeltl wants to win. He spent time in San Antonio losing a lot those seasons and years in San Antonio. He doesn't want to fucking lose anymore. He's back with Toronto, and he knows we can win. So when we lose, he's upset. He doesn't like it, and he is in some ways holding guys accountable from the inside, is saying, look, we need to do this better and do this better, and then we'll win. And he did, yeah. And because he's familiar with guys like Fred and Pascal, he maybe can get away with criticizing them a little more personally because they have a friendship and they're cool. Because he did straight up mention when Fred doesn't make open shots in his interview last night. So that is him calling a little accountability on the captain and saying, look, I love you, Fred. You're one of my friends, and we really play well together, but you have to make your open shots. And, we're paying attention to that. He is too. So one thing that people are bringing up is, why didn't we go to more pick and roll with Fred and Jakob? Why weren't you doing that, Nick? These are things that we're wondering. The rotations, why didn't you do this? Well, you could have done this. There's glaring things that a lot of the people that are watching the games are noticing, and they're like shouting at the TV and yelling, why are you not doing this, Nick? Or why are you doing this, Nick? And you're not noticing. And this is the thing. There's a lot of people, different people seeing the same thing, but you're not seeing it, and you're the coach and you're in the game. That's what I'm saying. We can't give more fuel to the Nick Nurse haters that want to get you fired. Well, they got a little more fuel last night. And I hate that so much because I love Nick Nurse being our coach and I want him to succeed. But once again, I can't cover up when he didn't do a good job. And last night was one of those nights, unfortunately. Transit saying, I'm at odds here. We have two guys who can shoot the ball sitting on the bench, yet we go with guys who struggle to score effectively. Cannot just keep trying to drive in without having guys shooting. One of the things that Nick does is, all right, you look at what Gary didn't play at the end of the game like he did in the last couple games. And that's too bad. Like, we might have be able to use him to try and catch up, but he didn't play well earlier in the game. So he didn't get one of those spots. And instead, Poeltl was used at the end of the game. But reasons why is because we're behind. We need that defense from Poeltl. And it's not that they're going to do a hack-a-yak in that situation. So you can get away with playing Poeltl in the fourth quarter when you're coming from behind. And, but when you're ahead and you have like a slight lead, that's when you don't want to play Poeltl later. So, in some ways, this is the thing. If they don't play Gary at the end of the games because he kind of like is not hitting his shot for the game, they should do the same thing with Fred. That if Fred is cold too, I know that he's steady and I know that he directs things and he kind of manages things, but fuck that. Put the best five out there, Nick. Put the guys that are playing the best for the whole entire game out there, and that is the best option. It could be whoever. I don't care. That is the way you get good play out of your guys, is that some of these bench guys know that they won't be in at the end of the game. It's very unlikely because you're so like patterned with playing the starters at the end of the game or at the end of quarters or whatever, that maybe some guys like Boucher and Precious or whoever that play well, they want to have a chance to close the game out because they play well. Chris gets that sometimes. Precious gets that sometimes. But don't be afraid to bench Fred if he's absolutely cold, because in some ways he did help us lose last night by not hitting his shots late. So I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to say because you're like, well, when do you bench Fred? Because he might make the next couple or something like that. It's really a roll of the dice. And in some ways, it's the same with Gary. You bench Gary late in the game and you're behind by so much. That doesn't totally make sense. Like Gary's the guy who's going to make some threes and get you back. Oh man, I don't know. See, that's what I'm saying. I big problem with last night was the players didn't show up with the right effort or energy. That's the biggest thing that made us lose. And then Nick Nurse not managing the game correctly. Those are the two things that killed us yesterday. Holy crap. Logical saying MSJ, I'm talking on the weakness he has. He played well, but the way the Wizards played him made it hard to run plays through him. He was able to make an impact for sure. I love Poeltl. He's a starter main. I don't even know who you're talking about exactly. Okay, you're talking about Jakob. Yeah, you got to name it. Name who you're talking about. Don't put he first. Put the name of the person because we switch around so much, Mike. I gotta be able to know who you're talking about. You could have meant Fred. I don't know who you're talking about. Jimmy's saying, I really try to fight for this team, but games like this make me feel like I'm shooting myself in the foot. Like, man, it's rough out here. Listen, all right, I want to counterbalance this because I've thought about this too. Listen, a lot of people that don't believe in the Raptors have just gotten more evidence not to believe in them. Sure. But that's not exactly right either. This is growing pains. This is one step forward, two steps forward, one step back. And this is one of those steps back once again, just like the Utah game recently. We're winning more games than we're losing. Don't be fooled by this. It's just we had a dog. We had a game. We showed up and had a bad show up, a flat show up. And we can't afford to have those. These guys have to be better prepared for games. They have to come in with a better attitude and better mentality and be ready from the get-go because they didn't look like it last night. They looked really casual and really not unenergetic and really bad. That is the biggest fuck up from last night. Now, listen, continue to stand up for them, Pope of Positivity. Stay with us. Because look, this is just one of the latest disappointments, sure. And the people that really feel these are going to be like, yeah, I should have never trusted this team. I should have just believed. A lot of people are saying we're idiots. We should have just tanked this whole time. Why are we even trying? All this kind of stuff. There's all kinds of stupid ass garbage being posted on Twitter and Facebook and different places and shit. Listen, this is how it is, y'all. That was a bad game last night, but that's just one game. Fuck it. Wipe it away. Let's go to Saturday. And this is a must win on Saturday now. We get swept by Washington. Yeah, I'll be even more pissed on Sunday morning. But listen, we got to make sure we take care of business on Saturday. And in fact, this is an opportunity. We need to come and show, like, this is what we can show. We can show that we can come back with a better effort of energy and not be so flat. We can show that Nick Nurse has a better strategy and that he can adjust and do the things that make the outcome way different than this game. Like, what if we go to Washington tomorrow and play them and kick their ass, like absolutely dominate and look like a totally different team than we did last night? It's almost like a game-to-game improvement that it could be allowed for us. This is an opportunity. This is a chance. These problems are never totally problems. They're opportunities. And that's the same thing with everything in life. A problem is always an opportunity. Well, the problem is, all right, we looked like dog shit to the Wizards last night. Well, we get to play them again very next game and show improvement. Show that we looked at the problems. We looked in the mirror and we saw what we did wrong and we wanted to change it. And well, we have a really quick turnaround time to go ahead and try and do it and find a new success, a different outcome. And that's what I'll be looking at. Now, don't give up on standing up for them, Jimmy. Just don't. Seriously. We got to keep going with them. We've gone so far this season already. And it's not that it's that bad. Listen, they had a dog of a game, a bad game last night for sure. But it's just one game. And like Leo and Jack say, in the whole 82 game season, there's going to be a handful of games that you just fucking suck. And you're going to lose no matter what. And unfortunately, that timing was last night with this stupid ass Washington game. So it could be it's in that pile that this is just a game that they were going to lose because they were just going to lose. And it sucks. Logical saying Poeltl is a big piece. Hang on, it jumped. Poeltl is a big piece. Hang on. Wow, you guys are here. I love seeing so many people here. We'll make sure everybody's comment gets read today. Don't worry. All right. Wow. Okay. I got to really catch up. All right. I thought it was there. Oh man, all right, I'm gonna read them quicker. Poeltl is a big piece in the center picture with Koloko and Precious. He's already shown improvements, which I said the other day. He's actually starting to hit his free throws constantly now. You can see form wise. Yeah, Mike, I guess I was wrong. He did shoot way better, but will it stick? Will it stick? Or is it just a temporary thing? I don't know. Maybe it will stick. I mean, that's kind of crazy that all of a sudden he's shooting better free throws for us. San Antonio people may be like, what the fuck? Why were you not doing this for us, Poeltl? Nameless is saying it's a somber morning here in Raptor Freakland. It isn't. It isn't. You know, in some ways, I'm kind of like, whatever. This is just one game. We're still good, honestly. I'm not gonna get all chicken littly about this. Some people are gonna get all depressed and be like, oh, we are a pretender. We are garbage. I don't believe that still. We're still a good team. We're gonna figure it out. It's just growing pains and figuring shit out with new players and miscalculations by our coach. You know, there's a couple of things that happen. Jimmy's saying, pardon my rant, but when your two top dogs play like garbage and our softest Charmin, we stand no chance. They need to be better. They get paid for a reason, like, bro. Yeah. Yeah, I can totally get behind with this criticism too. Listen, the people I'm criticizing today are Nick Nurse, Pascal Siakam, and Fred VanVleet. Those three guys, number one, number two, and number three, for why I feel like we lost last night. These are the leaders. These are the most important people in our Raptors team in some ways. The coach, the captain, and the number one option. And these guys did not show up in ways that were necessary for us to win last night, whether it's Pascal's second half disappearance, whether it's Fred's not returning to his rhythm because he took so much fucking time off over the All-Star break, or it's just Nick being clueless and just making very poor coaching decisions. I can't stand up for them today. I have to be critical of them, but with a certain limit to it. It's not that I'm saying this shit because I want them traded or off the team or fired. It's only because they need to be criticized because it wasn't exactly right. It's not doesn't mean I want to get rid of them. And a lot of people overreact in that way. And that's what I don't agree with. So yeah, they totally get paid for a reason, and they need to be the leaders and the guys that step up and do this. I'm sorry, OG, commendable effort trying to take that baton and do that job, and without them doing it. And I really do appreciate that about him. Logical saying the crowded paint by the opposing team collapsing like every drive post touch has an effect on the whole team missing bunnies. He fixes that with the dump. I didn't mean Poeltl. I was missing bunnies. Okay. Yeah, that's the thing. That you know, they have presence around the basket. Obviously, with Porzingis and Gafford, that's a twin tower defensive lineup, and they're playing together quite often. Yeah, that's really hard to make any baskets down there. You add in, it's a perfect storm of the Raptors are not a very good three-point shooting team anyway. You get on a night where we're not hitting the threes, and we can't do anything down low because those big guys are just fucking everything up every which way. Yeah, it's a perfect storm of offensive problems where we can't score or do things correctly. And it's too bad. Half the game was very much like the Detroit and Chicago game recently. Eastern Conference, low scoring, defensive, bam, 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 physical. And then at a certain point, the Wizards got unleashed, and we weren't stopping them, and they started playing the offensive stuff, and they ended up averaging 30 points per quarter. What did they get? 119. So they're 1 point shy of getting 30 points per quarter. And that is another benchmark that I look at with whether our defense is playing well or not. If they are getting held under 30 points per quarter, they're around 20, more like the Chicago and Detroit game recently, then we're playing good defense. But a 35-point second quarter with a poor lineup decision by Nick Nurse is absolutely what killed us in that game. Everybody's pointing to the second quarter. You are exactly right. 35 points scored by the Wizards in that quarter. That's awful. And then for the last two quarters, they scored 30 points, 30 points. So that the defense is not there if they're scoring 30 points a quarter. And meanwhile, we're stuck with the 20 points per quarter scoring. The Eastern Conference grinded out defensive scoring. Can't keep up with them scoring wise. So Washington is a little bit of a hybrid of the Eastern Conference team. They can do the defensive stoppage stuff and play that battle game that we've been playing recently, but they can turn it on West Coast style and get an offensive going with Kuzma and Bradley Beal out there as scorers. So, oh my gosh. Tom Duke is here. Good morning to Tom Duke. Yak pulled out after 3 minutes and 10 minutes in this first half. More Yak, please, in the stew. Happy Friday, Freak Fam. Thank you, Tom, for the happy Friday, TGIF. Yeah, I was like wondering that too. The whole second quarter, Jakob did not play. And I was like, well, okay, so he's only played 10 minutes in the first half. Well, he could pretty much play the whole second half and not get over minutes that he shouldn't be playing. And he did kind of play the whole second half after that. I think Nick learned from that, but that too much damage done in the second quarter. Mike saying, Pope, no doubt it's on the guys earning the most to make it happen. I'm just talking tactics and why no one was really getting anything going. Shades of the past a bit. It's the league adjusting, but we'll be fine. Honestly, it's a combination of them having a really good sound defensive scheme near the basket, as you described, limiting anything for us up close, and then also just a perfect storm of us being inept. It's like, listen, we make the threes, we win this game last night. Seriously, all we got to do is just make those outside shots and we would have won. But no, we didn't make the outside shots. We shot 27% from outside, 9 of 33. That is how many shots that we missed? That is 24 3-point attempts missed. 24 3-point attempts missed. You make only 9 and you miss 24? That is a really big, bad problem right there. I mean, 1 for 5 for SIAKAM. I'll give OG a pass because he did pretty good at the 3-point line. 0 for 3 for Scottie. 2 for 11 for Fred. 0 for 1 for Barton. 0 for 2 for Trent. Now, OG and Chris, they were 6 of 11. So they were fantastic at the 3-point line. 6 of 11. They made 6 out of the 9 threes, and only 3 other threes were made by the rest of the team. That is really, really, really bad. So a combination of them having a good defensive game plan around the basket and then us being completely inept on offense. That's how you lose right there. Yeah. All right, let's see. It's not on everyone. Leadership was a huge issue last night, court and bench. Yeah. I mean, it's not on Poeltl. No, it's not on Boucher. It's not on Anunoby. And this is what somebody said on Twitter. It's like everybody except for OG, Jakob, and Chris is to blame for last night. Every single one of the rest of them, because none of them play good. Mike saying, salute real ones, Project Truth always. Sorry, Lex, fired up, picked my jersey for the year yesterday. It's coming, feeblest man. I'm fired up a little. I'm going to chill out. It's all good. Mike, listen, I love your passion. No, don't worry about it. It's all good. You're good, man. I love all the comments, and you have really good points today. This is important for us to dissect this in a positive Raptor fan way instead of just a critical, awful, negative Raptor fan that just wants to tear the team down. We need to be critical of the team and talk about where the problems are so we can fix them. But it's always with the intent of them getting better, and the team is going to do better. And and you're exactly on the right page. You're all good, man. So it's cool you're getting a new jersey. Alistair's here. Let's see what Alistair's saying. Sometimes Alistair can be very realistic and not totally just seeing all the bright stuff. Let's see if he's seeing what he's saying. Why have a shooting guard that you need for spacing come off the bench with another one than have 2 power forwards that bring the same thing start? This doesn't make sense. The lineup is crooked. Bench Barnes, start Gary. Ooh, all right. Alistair is touching on something that I noticed too in that second quarter lineup, that Gary and Will may not be good to play together. That was a really interesting decision by Nick to have Gary Trent Jr. and Will Barton out there at the same time because the floor spacing was fucked up and they did not help each other. In some ways, you say, okay, 2 3-point threats out there at the same time, that could be good. But no, they fucking swallowed each other in a black hole and neither one of them did jack shit. So, yeah, I don't know if you can play them together right now. They may be too similar in what they're trying to do, and there's just not cohesion or good scoring opportunities for them. So I was like, I didn't like that either. I noticed that, and I'm glad you brought it up, having both of them on there. Now, what you're saying is put Gary back in the starting lineup and bring Scottie off the bench. In some ways that logically makes sense. I've always thought that Scottie would be good off the bench, but at some certain point, he's just a starter, and they just designate him that. But in some ways, because of his lack of focus and energy for 48 minutes of the game, maybe you put him on the bench and allow him to see, all right, this is how we start the game really engaged right away, Scott. And then he can see from the bench what we need because this is the thing that would make sense. Why is he's a jack of all trades, a multi-purpose player that can do all kinds of different things. And it could be that we play the game for the first 5-6 minutes and we see something that we're lacking or something that we need more done properly. And Nick says, all right, Scottie, go in. And this is your focus because of what has happened already in the game. is we need you to do this. We need you to crash the boards and get more offensive rebounds. Or we need you to go out there and really put some physicality on so-and-so player from the other team because they're getting too much done. Or just give them a specific assignment. Because at times we've heard that Scottie gets bored on the court or he gets unengaged or he's just not as into the game or aggressive. Well, give him assignments, give him tasks, give him homework as soon as he comes in off the bench. And in some ways, that could be very effective. I'm not against what Alistair's saying here. I don't know if bringing Scottie off the bench will happen, but in some ways, this does kind of make sense because he's a jack of all trades. He can fit and fix different problems that we see as the game starts. And maybe Gary is better in the starting lineup. I'm not against these ideas because I can see where they could be really fruitful. Jimmy's saying, oh, I noticed, Lex, Pascal got to step up. I know. Listen, I was like, I look at the stats at halftime, and I saw at halftime Pascal had 13 points, and he was our leading scorer. And he was like the only guy who had like double digits, and it was like the only one who was doing really, really well for us. And I was like, wow, all right, SIAKAM showing up. Well, at the end of the game, I looked at the box score and said he has 13 points still. He doesn't have any more points than he does from the first half. And I was like, whoa, is that right? And then I thought about it. I was like, yeah, I can remember SIAKAM missing a lot of shots in the second half, but he didn't make a single damn one. And then I thought about his interview before the game and like what I said, that whole rant about the Red Bulls and him looking so like disheveled, glassy-eyed and tired and stressed and just negative. He had negative energy in the practice interview yesterday. And I'm like, I saw this once before the season and it was the same thing. He came out and he played horrible and they lost. So I'm wondering what the fuck is going on with Pascal. There's something weird about him that's going on. And in some ways, he's too casual. It's true. He is not, if he wants to be a superstar and he wants to be the absolute like top kind of player in this league, he doesn't have it in him in some ways. There's some things about his character that are not killer instinct. And that's what we were talking about a lot yesterday. Killer instinct. SIAKAM, you don't have that to a degree. You're in some ways very casual. And I hate that. I wish you cared more. I wish you had more Dame Lillard in you. Seriously. Fiercey's here. Good to see Fiercey. Good morning, fam. I'm usually optimistic, but if that's the way they fight for playoffs or play-ins, I have little faith. Washington were way more focused and hungry. Yeah, I mean, listen, I know optimistic Raptor fans are having a tough battle today, especially with the pessimistic ones. The ones that are very negative. They sound like they're right now because of the outcome of yesterday, but they're not. Just stay true. Stay true, Fiercey, and still believe. That's not how they're going to play most of the games going out. That's an aberration. That is a wake-up call in some ways that they need to be like fucking looking themselves in the mirror and being like, fuck, is more of this shit from earlier this season? Do we really want to finish the season the same way we played most of the season? No, you don't. You want to win most of your games on the way out, Raptors, and you can. You know you can. You just got to do things correctly. So don't lose faith, Fiercey. And I know it's real easy to get negative and pessimistic because of last night. But remember, this is just one game. And we get the opportunity to play the same team tomorrow. And maybe we can show improvement. And that is really powerful in some ways. You have a dog of a game against the same team, and then you go out and you play them in a completely different way and kick their ass. Yeah, we could have a lot of good feelings after the game on Saturday, but we do have to win that game. If we get swept by them at home, fuck it. You may be right that we may be packing it in and like whatever happens, so be it. But we win tomorrow and we win convincingly, that can make a lot of good feelings start to happen again too. So yeah, it's just don't lose the faith. Don't lose the faith. You have a little, just keep that at least. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Raptor Free Crew. We lost this game on rotation and low IQ. So pissed off, but I let it all go in spaces last night. Okay, she was probably ranting and raving and going off in there. And yeah, that release, yeah, you go ahead and do it. If that's a healthy way for you to deal with it, Cool Cat, you go ahead. I have no problem with that. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. But once again, what do we do on this channel every morning, 9:30? We circle back, we regroup, we talk about it, and we do a little therapy. There's a little bit of what's happening here. You know, if you're a fan that's feeling negative today, hopefully I can point out some positives and things that we can hopefully see change and have good things happen. MSJ saying Pascal looks deflated. Who knows, Raptor fans? The team chemistry is just not working. Even the SB4 at the point guard is a weird fit. Hard to make sense of it. You know, everything's easier when you're winning, obviously. And when things aren't, you know, you got to soul search and look for things. I really wonder about Pascal and who he is as a personality. Once again, the fact that he did not play basketball as a young child and the fact that his origin story is so interesting and different, I don't think he's built like the average NBA player as far as his commitment to wanting to win in certain ways. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, in some ways, I feel like he's too casual. Like, I want him to be really more, like I said, killer instinct. What is going on with you, Pascal? Maybe that's something that you need to read books on or talk about with mentors like Rico Hines this summer about getting that killer instinct in a certain way. Because in some ways, you're too nice a guy. Maybe you're too passive. You need to be angry, Pascal, like we talked about last summer. Mean Pascal. Where is that dude? That dude was talked about at the beginning of the season around Rico Hines runs. I want to see angry Pascal. I want to see the mean guy that's out there to kill the other team and just beat the shit out of them. Where is that dude? Fun guy saying that, but they actually correlate, bro. The interviews are good because we are able to see what energy Pascal will have for the upcoming game. And yesterday knew he would be tired just from the interview. And why is that? SIAKAM, why are you so tired in Washington? What's going on in Washington? Are y'all seriously doing Showtime behind the scenes or something like that? Are y'all like the old Lakers and having crazy orgies or some shit? Like, what the fuck is going on with you? Seriously. Where were you yesterday, Pascal? Why are you not fucking ready for the game correctly? Why do you look like somebody died in your family in the practice interview? Seriously. And Fun Guy's saying, well, maybe we need these interviews just so we know which Pascal we're going to get for later on in the day. Man, what is going on? Seriously, are there personal problems or is there something going on with you, Pascal, that nobody knows about? Because sometimes you were giddy when Jakob showed back up, and I felt like this would be carrying you for a while. But at some point now, all of a sudden you're deflated and tired again. There's no reason for this. Y'all had a day off. Why were you not energy wise ready? Are you sick on the down low? Is there something wrong with Pascal on the down low that's hampering him? Because it doesn't make any fucking sense to me. It really, really doesn't. Really weird. Omari, I'm sorry you didn't get your birthday present, but I hope you had a good birthday otherwise, other than the game. Last night was whack. I don't understand these guys. Dead notes is a great way to put it. It almost seems like winning is not even important to them on some nights. I know it is, but it's almost like these guys don't know what to do or how to do it or what, it's like they forget. It's almost like, okay, Fred knows what to do, but his nuts are chopped because he has no rhythm in his shot right now. That pisses me off because this is like earlier in the season, there's a perfect storm of problems that caused us to lose a lot, whether it was like Pascal doing the splits in Dallas, Fred having a bad shot earlier in the season because his mechanics were off. Well, now all of a sudden his fucking mechanics are off again because of too much time off. So this perfect storm is rearing its ugly head again in different weird ways, where it's an absentee leadership at the top, poor coaching by Nick, Fred not having his rhythm, Gary not being a factor at all in the game. These are all problems all at once that cause things like last night. It fucking, oh my gosh. Hugh's here. Good to see Hugh. Fred VanVleet is back to playing like a shooting guard that can pass rather than playing like a point guard that can shoot. He isn't looking for the pass, the past two games, the way he used to. I like his assist numbers recently. In fact, they showed a stat last night where Fred has the most assists over a 3-game stretch recently. And I'm like, is that true? I didn't realize that. Like that he, his 12 assists and 9 assists, and then last night he had 8. This is pretty good assist run for him. So he really is passing more than shooting, but part of it is because his shooting rhythm is off and he's trying to cover up for it. And I hate that. In some ways, that is part of the problem. Fred, listen, you're a leader as far as like a captain, but also you're a leader as far as the shooting. And if you're not confident in your shot and you're passing up your shot, that's a horrible thing for the whole rest of the team. And you're not confident in your shot right now. Obviously, you will pass the extra pass. But the thing is, Scottie's doing this kind of shit too. Other guys are doing this kind of shit too. They're sheepish. It's like, Scottie, I see you get in the lane and you should just go up and put the ball in the basket, but you're making an unselfish extra pass to somebody next and it's getting turned over because somebody gets their hand on it and that the pass is not good. You need to go up and be aggressive. You shouldn't be making that extra pass. This has been happening all season. You guys got to recognize when you have the best shot and forget about this next action unselfish bullshit that the Raptors coaches are trying to tell y'all. You have the best shot often before you pass it, Fred or Scottie, and you guys are giving it an extra pass and it's fucking everything up. So be more aggressive in that way. Ballers got to want a ball. They want to fill up the hoop. And you guys are so scared and hesitant about filling up the hoop that it pisses me off. Y'all need to want to fill it up and be hoopers. And Will Barton, you need to fucking show up and show that part too and be an inspiration in that way, because you're not being aggressive enough. And I want you to just go ahead and be selfish. I don't give a shit. Next game, Will Barton, I want you to go ahead and just shoot like crazy and not give a shit about passing anyone. You fucking shoot yourself and get your rhythm in the game, because we need somebody to be confident and aggressive and be a baller and fill up that hoop, because nobody ain't doing that right. And that is a problem. That is a big, big problem. Let's see. Click saying 0 sense of urgency. That's another issue for sure. Where is the urgency? Where is the care? Would you give a shit? Are y'all too casual? Are you too unserious? As somebody put it on Twitter last night. This team is unserious. Are y'all fucking serious about being in the NBA and being NBA players, or are you not? Are you just fucking lip servicing us in the fucking interviews when you say, yeah, we have to win. We want to win. We want to do this. We want to do that. Well, fucking, you can say it all you want, but if you ain't fucking doing it on the court, actions speak louder than words. And that's what I'm saying. Where's the urgency? Where's the fucking fire under your feet to fucking do something about this shit? And it's not even just like, all right, obviously y'all were flat at the beginning of the game. Where is it throughout the game? We're waking up and saying, holy shit, we need to fucking get going on this shit. Yeah, there's problems. Poeltl said in his after game interview that the defense was not communicating enough, that these guys were not talking amongst each other to help each other and seeing different things. And you could tell, it's like guys come up behind and steal the ball from people. You got to talk on the court. You got to be focused and talking. And then you got to work off each other on the defense, because our team defense did not work. And Washington scored all kinds of easy points, whether it's lobs or open threes. They fucked us up. It's really, really bad. So Jimmy's saying this team teases us. They show us glimpse of possibilities and then show us like this, like laughing my ass off. Well, that's what a young developing team will do. They'll show the promise of the future and how good they can be, but there's still the fuck ups of being not experienced and having problems. And that is very much the case with a young team. You know, the Raptors have had different eras like this. You know, when DeMar and Kyle showed up, we got more capable. But really, those 2007 years with Bargnani and Bosch, it's a lot more like that than it is early Kyle and DeMar years at this point. That there's not a whole focus on how to win and making sure you get to that win at each game. Sometimes you don't understand how to win. And last night was one of those kind of games. They did not understand how to win the game last night because they didn't adjust and try and do it. Let's see. Seymour saying, at this point, there were no stars at all, not a single player. It's disgusting performance when it counted. If that's what we're going to get come play-in or playoffs, we're wasting our time. Gary Trent Jr. was trash. Wow, Seymour is very, very negative today. But I can't blame him. There's a lot of reasons to be. Listen, I won't, like I said, I won't begrudge the valiant effort of OG Anunoby in the second half, or just the yeoman's work of Poeltl around the basket and just trying to do the physical fights with Gafford and Porzingis and different guys on that side. And also Boucher. I'll give those guys a pass. But the rest of the team, absolute dog shit. Completely. You're right. G saying, I'm a Nurse fan, but damn, why was Poeltl off for so long? And why did we have a lineup with a bunch of wings? Yeah. I don't know what he was doing or thinking yesterday, Nick. Really. And at the end of the game, he's cussing out Tony Brothers and the crew. Bradley Beal comes over to say hi to Nick, and he's like saying, oh, hi, Nick. And Nick stops for a second. He's cussing the refs, and he says, oh, hey, Bradley, hi. And then he goes right back to cussing the refs out right afterwards. He's like, oh, hi, Bradley. Oh, fuck you, Tony Brothers, you mother. So funny. So crazy. I know. Listen, we can still stand up for Nick. Listen, they're like players, too. Coaches can have dud games and fuck up and do a bad job, you know, and he'll admit it. I've heard him say a couple times this season, I need to coach better. Well, I'm sure he's saying that this morning, that he probably should have coached way better last night. And he's probably going to take a lot of this really hard on himself, and he'll get better just like a player would. It's very much a workshop for the coaches too, especially when they're trying to do fact finding and figuring out their rotation and their players and how they fit or how they should fit. So, yeah, I didn't like that lineup at all. Like, we have centers and point guards now. We're not totally doing this positionless shit. And if you do that, you better have the right lineup. It better be a lot of the starters. It better be like Pascal, Precious, Chris, OG, and Scottie. if you're going to do some positionless shit, it better be like mostly starters and maybe Precious and Chris, and that's it. No Thad involved in that. You should not have Thad out there in that kind of way. Really shouldn't. In fact, I may want to say a rule for Nick: don't play Thad unless you have Poeltl out there. Thad can play if Poeltl's out there, but if Poeltl's not out there, don't be fucking playing Thad. Is what I'm gonna say. Because listen, the problem is on defense, what Thad is doing is he's cheating and going for steals a lot. And you'll see when Thad's out there, it's not a bad thing because he's successful a lot. But once he does that, commits to try and go for the steal, he's the center. He's the one who's supposed to close up after behind him. That's an easy basket right away. So he can't do that philosophy of trying to be that in the middle, stealing, getting in the passing lane guy as the pivot, the defensive center, because that's an open door. As soon as he cheats and tries and goes and gets the ball, that's an open door to go right to the basket for anybody if Washington gets the ball to the right person. So I only want Thad out there if he's playing with Jakob, Nick. Don't play him with Precious. It doesn't work right. It doesn't work right. We've noticed this, and this is what people are saying. It's like you got to get Thad right with how you use him. I agree with using him, but I don't think he should be anywhere near the 5. And if he has any 5 duties out there, we're fucking up. You need to be like how you were with Chris eventually. You said Chris can't play the 5. Well, you need to decide this with Thad, and you need to do it soon. You don't need to be fucking around the rest of the season trying to play him at the 5. Stop doing that. Just stop. Mike's saying it definitely was a weird game. Fred's misses were painful today, not gonna lie. I don't feel that way like ever, though. It was clearly a game where someone needed to take over, and Fred wasn't in rhythm, so he couldn't. Yeah, it's so fucking frustrating. This is the thing, Fred. Listen, I hate that you took so much time off. Or I'm really gonna blame this because seriously, you took 2 weeks off in the middle of the season with the All-Star break and the pregnancy and all that. That you fucked up your rhythm for the stretch run, and now you're trying to find it when we're really trying to win the most desperately. This is a total fuck up. In fact, in some ways, this is a fuck up like Pascal sitting at home during the pandemic and not being ready for the bubble. In some ways, that's very similar kind of situation. Let's see. Cool Cat saying role definition is lacking. Other teams know their role and play to it. No role offense costs us many games this season. Yeah. Cool Cat's exactly right. You know, we got a point guard, you got a center, you got different roles. Use the traditional roles, Nick. The positionless system doesn't work in this kind of way when the guys don't actually have like unspoken roles in the positionless role that catch all the roles you need in a basketball game. Well, start fucking playing a point guard and a center and actually play with the roles that people need to have on there. Because like, we need to throw in the towel on this experimental positionless 6'9" vision shit for right now, at least for the rest of the season. You can go back to it in the offseason and try and incorporate it for next season. But for the rest of the season, I think you need to just go back to basic fundamental basketball and try and run these guys in traditional roles because that's natural for them. And it'll be easier to suss out who should be doing what. And exactly what Cool Cat's saying here is like the roles are not defined. They don't know what the fuck they're supposed to be doing out there or what the tasks they should be accomplishing to compete and win the game. So you need to get back to the basics, basically, and play a 1 through 5 traditionally and have them actually do the roles that they're supposed to be doing in that. You may find that they have more cohesion and success because they are on the same page because it's just the traditional way of doing it. You might have to do that a bit. You may do some positionless still, but that's in safe places, but not like for the whole. You need to go back to regular basketball. You just have to, Nick. At this point, just please go back to regular basketball. No more of this fucking wings platter out there, like all wings starting lineup. We can't do that right now. We have not enough time, and we have to win. Line Hunter saying at Hugh, I disagree. Just needs to hit threes. Rhythm is everything. Also hard to rack up assists in a game where you start 0 for 10. Nobody could shoot except for OG. What was Hugh saying talking about Fred? Yeah, I mean, listen, Lion Hunter, I'm going to stand up for Fred to a degree, but I am pissed at him for having so much time off and losing his rhythm in the season. That is a big problem. But I agree. Once he finds his shot, hopefully he can find it tomorrow. All of a sudden, things will get so much easier and better. Fred, fuck, come on, man. I hate being so critical of you this week, but you're really pissing me off. You pissed me off this week. Holy crap. Fiercely saying rotations were horrific. Jakob was efficient, so he should have kept him like he stubbornly does for the others. We know when Precious messes up just by looking at his facial expressions. Yeah, I mean, I told you guys, Precious has actually been really good in his development. He doesn't fuck up that much. Well, we saw a game where he fucks up last night. Turnovers, just not sharp. The spacing was weird out there on the floor at times. Seemed like guys were kind of encroaching on each other in different ways and making it harder on each other to score because the spacing was wrong on the court. There's all kinds of different issues that were kind of going on with our team last night that didn't help us to win. Really, really weird issues, communication issues, rotation issues, spacing issues, making close baskets issues, making threes issues, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I mean, listen, I thought he did a good job of realizing it late. And because Jakob played pretty much the whole second half, he kind of did fix that mistake in the second half, but it was too late. And Precious was useless for the rotation in the second half. He didn't hardly play at all because he played so bad in the first. G saying, I really like Scottie better as a forward. Fred and Scottie as guards together can be great or so bad. I would almost have liked OG as the shooting guard since his shooting was really good. Four in the paint is better. I love everything G's saying right here. I think he's exactly right. G's one of the smartest Raptor freaks, and he really does know his basketball. And this is showing in this kind of observation. I like this too. Scottie, I know you want to be a guard, a point guard, or whatever, but it may be that we need to slot you in at the 4 or the 3 and let OG be the shooting guard. Because in some ways it does look way better. OG on the outside, shooting those laser threes. He's a better 3-point shooter than you. He's better at attacking the rim in some ways than you already. But you may be better later down the road. But yeah, the fruit for Scottie to go get right now is near the basket playing as a forward. And I completely agree with this stuff. It may be the lineup doesn't change, obviously. It's just that we put OG in the 2 more traditionally and the whole idea of a traditional 1 through 5 setup, like I was just talking about. And then Scott, you may be the 4 actually, playing down low. And in some ways, I thought of this. It's like if Scottie can be like Duncan, well, then Jakob could be like Robinson. A little Duncan and Robinson kind of defensive action between the two of them and the way they interplay with each other. You can go watch that old Spurs team when Duncan was still on it. I mean, Robinson was still on it before he retired, the first championship for the Spurs. Some of the working between Duncan and Robinson from then may be very fruitful for Nick to look at and get ideas for how to play defensive stuff with Jakob and Scottie. Because in some ways, I really do see parallels between those two players and those two players. Of course, they're not the same level as Duncan and Robinson, but they're very similar interplays that we could do on defense that they did back in the day. I want Nick to go and discover that is basically what I'm saying. But yeah, I like Scottie at forward way more. He doesn't have to play center anymore because Jakob's here. So him at the 4 or the 3 is smart. The shooting guard, I mean, it's mixed results. It can look really great. You're right, but it has looked bad too. Hugh saying at Lion Hunter, if you watch the games prior to the All-Star break and now, you would see Fred used to dribble and create openings and make the right pass. Fred has had such an up and down season. He was really horrible for a good part of the first half. And then he looked really good before the All-Star break, but now he's looking horrible again. And I hate this. I hate this, Fred. Oh my gosh, I'm kind of really pissed. A similar way to Pascal with the bubble situation. So I hate this so much. I just wish he would play good and everybody would shut up. Oh my gosh. David saying at Click, all right, you're right. Delusion. No idea what is wrong with the Raptors. They're a shell of themselves. Never been so disappointed by a sports team. David, you're being overly dramatic. I'm sure there's been other sports situations and things that have happened with teams that you like that you've been more disappointed than this. I know I've been more disappointed with the Raptors in other times in their history than right now. So, let's not over dramatize like this loss last night and make it like more worse than it really is. Because in some ways, your perception of it can add it and make it more gravity worse. It's bad, but there is a way to fix it. And as Seymour would say, you saying there's a chance? Yeah, there's still a chance. So let's not hold out on that. Go Gadget Raptor is back. Let's see what Go Gadget Raptor is saying. Go Gadget Raptor. Woohoo. Bruh, is this the Fred shooting that we are missing, man? Needs to drop the bet on yourself mantra and pick up that Patriots mantra. Do your job. Ooh, that's cutting and biting, but it's a little fair today. Listen, he had it back. Fred had it back before the All-Star break. He was playing fine. It's just now he has to figure it out and come back again. And that sucks. That sucks so bad. And David's saying that's fair enough to go gadget. Yeah, it is fair. Monique is here. Super fan Monique Lawrence. Good morning, everyone. Chris, thank you for showing heart. Maybe 905 has a chance for playoffs overall. Way to go. Jeff, wow. OG seemed locked in. Whatever happened to shutting down Kuzma? Yeah. Yeah, Kuzma, listen, that's what I'm saying. Kuzma has that attitude, and I'm going to come out there and kill y'all. I want to be the best player on the court. I'm going to be badass and doing all this stuff. Where's our guy on our side doing that kind of shit? Kuzma was the man who initiated, and he wanted to win the most. And I was like, it wasn't Bradley. Bradley hit a couple of important threes, did some interesting stuff, but he didn't score a whole lot. Bradley Beal, what did he get? He was 5 of 14, 3 of 4 from 3. 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 15 points. That's okay, but that's not Bradley Beal killing us. It was Kyle Kuzma. That's right. It was Kyle Kuzma. Yeah, and the 905 keep winning and getting those playoffs. I'm excited about the 905 for the near future with having such a good team right now. Trevor's here. Good to see Trevor J. Good morning. We didn't play good at all last night. It's always so funny that the Raptors have to play 8-on-5 all the time. Yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of that. I mean, I won't disagree. The referees swallowed the whistle, and they did not help us by giving us trips to the free throw line or anything. And once again, I'm going to say this, Raptors, you're not going to make the shot, convert the bunnies. You're not going to get free throws. You're not going to get anything. You can go down there and bust your ass, and 3 guys can foul you. If you don't make the shot or nothing, they're not going to call the whistle. It doesn't matter. The ball just goes the other way. And I hate that. I hate that feeling when I know our guys are getting fouled. They miss the shot. The other team gets a rebound, and they're on their way back, and they get something in transition. Meanwhile, the referee just swallowed the whistle. And that was what happened last night as far as ref manipulation. There was anything weird. Both the challenges were denied, which was funny. That very much is a Tony Brothers kind of thing. It was like, oh, you're challenging me? Well, you're wrong. And you're unsuccessful with your challenge. And both coaches had that happen. Of course, the one with Scottie, he told Nick not to take that challenge because he did foul him. He knew he did. And he's like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. He said that to Nick. He's like, don't challenge that call. But it was only like a minute and a half to go in the game. And Nick was not going to be able to use the challenge if he probably, he wanted to use it in the game. He's like, all right, this is as good as any opportunity to do it. So I'll just do it now. But he wasn't going to win that challenge. And Scottie knew it. As soon as he called it, he's like, no, don't call it. But Nick called it anyway because there's time running out in the game. He wanted to use it. So that was interesting, that part. Let's see. Cool Cat saying, even though we came out flat, we were able to pull it back. Then we lost the game in the second half because the gap is too much. Don't shoot threes without anyone there for rebound. What the fuck? Siakam, all right, I know I'm bashing him for not showing up in the second half, but he really was that whole run in the first quarter that, after we started down 10-0, he was the one who went on that run and scored a shit ton of those baskets. Most of his 13 points came in that first quarter of us coming back and actually taking the lead over them in the first quarter after being down 10-0. That was impressive. That run was really good. But then again, they start a 10-0 run to start. We go on a 12-2 run. And then, boom, they have a second run to close out the first quarter. And that's why they're leading at the end of the first. And it's just really bad. Really, really bad. Jimmy's saying, Fred's shot selection has me cringing. Dude, just taking a contested transition 3 with 20 on the shot clock when we're making a run and at least a fast break for them. Laughing my ass off. Some of the shots aren't bad, and they are open, and he needs to take them. Like I said, there's nothing worse. I mean, it's worse. Missing the shots isn't as bad as not taking the shots because you're scared. So he has to take the shots no matter what. Because if he's not taking the shots because he's scared, then fuck. We're fucked either way. So he has to take them. But in some ways, he is taking the shots and not taking them because he's scared. Because he is sheepish about shooting right now because he knows he's not on. And it is a problem. It really is hurting us. It really, really is. Let's see. David's saying, we're not a thrown together team. We had 13 guys return from last year, most in the league. Yes and no. That's not totally true. The Yaka is such a huge part of this. It really, really is. I mean, I know you don't see it the same way as me, but in some ways we really are still a thrown together team just in the last 2 weeks. And it's partly because also we may have had all these guys, but a lot of it is we haven't had all the guys together healthy for most of the season until now. This is the most healthy we've been all season to a degree. So that's another part of it also is like maybe we are the most kept the guys from last year, but we've hadn't had them all healthy. Is that part of it too? Hughes saying, I'm all for Fred, but he isn't playing like he was. He's not Curry. He's looking at the rim first every time. Last 8 games, shooting splits for him 33, 30, 84. Our players need to be held accountable. You mean he's shooting 33% from the field, 30% from 3, and 84% from the line? Listen, he's just got to make shots. It's the same thing as earlier this season. He said, I know what I need to do to improve is I need to make the shots. And it's the same damn thing he's going to be saying today is he knows he just needs to make the shots. And he knows that. He just knows 2 threes is not good enough when you're shooting 11 3-point attempts. That's just not good enough, Fred. You got to make more than 2 of the 11 attempts. Let's see. Omar saying Indiana is a good passing drill. Indiana is a good passing drill. Is that the name of the drill? Is Indiana? They call out Indiana and do the passing drills. It's like the old Hoosiers passing drill. I don't know. It's so like basic, and maybe it's like insulting to the pros. Like, you're gonna make us do a passing drill before the game, coach? Yeah, because y'all ain't fucking passing between each other, right? So yeah, I'm gonna make you do a passing drill in front of the crowd in the pregame warm-ups. I would do that shit. Seriously. If I was Nick, I would start doing a couple passing drills before the game, or at least the day of the game, because these guys need, this is the thing. All right, I used to go to Second City, and I used to take improv classes. Well, when you do improv classes, they do a thing called the warm up before the game, before the class, so that you can be in tune with your partners that you're going to do improv with. Well, it's a lot of like bouncing back and forth words and doing little theater games that get you in touch and connected with the people that you may be doing scenes with, improv scenes. So they need a warm up, like we would do in an improv class, where it's like you're doing the word warm up with your whips, blah, 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 rubber baby buggy bumpers, and then you're throwing energy at each other and you're catching it, you're throwing energy. I don't know. Anybody who's taken an improv class will know what I'm talking about. We need something like that, the equivalent of that for basketball. We need these guys to get that energy connected before the game starts with the passing chemistry. It's like y'all can do it all through the practices and all the off time and stuff like that. But if you're not fucking doing it in the game, then there's something disconnected between y'all on the court. That people shouldn't be bouncing balls off people's faces, Pascal. When you hit Scottie in the face with that pass, why isn't he ready? Why isn't there a connection? That's what I'm wondering. I really don't like it. Let's see. Go Gadget saying, imagine Jakob going 7 for 7 from the free throw line and we still get spanked by a team below 500. Oh, wait, that did happen. Last night was agonizing. The chemistry issues are real. Listen, this is the thing I'm going to say. We can look at everything that looks really bad and like paint it in the worst and worst picture. That's what I'm saying. You're being pessimistic with your perspective. Sure, you can write all these horrible, sad tragedies. I'll get out a little tiny violin for you, Go Gadget, and we'll play it for you. So sad violin music. Fuck that. Pick yourself up, see the positive, and build off of that. If you want to build off of looking at, we lost, and Jakob's got 7 for 7 in the free throw line, and it's to a below 500 team. Sure, you can paint it in the most worst possible ways. Sure, go ahead. But why do that? Why do that? We just got to forget and go to the next game and do better. We got to wash the taste out of our mouth by beating their ass on Saturday afternoon. So it is tough. It's very tough. But once again, you have a bad thing happen in your life. You want to make it worse by characterizing it and describing it all on top of it, even worse and worse. It will be worse and worse. I'm minimizing shit. And you're describing it in a worse way. That's not the direction to go. Seymour saying, if we had kept Norm over Gary, we wouldn't be in these situations. I don't care. Gary is horrible. His shot selection is everything. Gary he's a streak shooter, and he will be off and he will be on sometimes. He will bail us out and do very good things for us at times too. That's an interesting thought exercise to think about if we did have Norman this whole time instead. There are definitely very strong synergies between him and some of the Raptors, Fred specifically. And there's some stuff he's doing for the Clippers right now that is very impressive and stuff that we could probably really use on our team right now. But woulda, coulda, should, we can't go back in time and change the movements that we've made already. This is just what it is. But I may not disagree with this, that Norman would help us this year in a lot of ways if he was still around, that his veteran leadership and some of the steady things he used to do for us have been lacking. in certain things. He was one of these guys that was very good at like getting a basket when we were having a hard time just making baskets. He was very good at attacking the rim and just getting us a basket all of a sudden. So I won't disagree with this. I won't say that Gary is horrible though. It's just that he's on and off. And well, last night he had an off game. And more often than not this season, he's had a lot of on games. And I'll give him the credit for that. G saying Pascal, OG, and Scottie with a center, but we need two shooters on at all times for spacing. OG has had a bad handle, so shooting guard may not work either. I think too many players clogging the lane is an issue. That is part of it. Like the spacing and clogging the lane has been a problem because sometimes they're bringing their defender with them, and then all of a sudden they're shadowing and getting on the guy who's trying to score. And then all of a sudden it's like a 1-on-3 or something. That's really bad. OG's handle's better. His handle was really bad a couple of years ago, but I have more faith in him driving to the hoop and doing the things that he does. He mixed it up. It wasn't just 3-point shooting. He was attacking the rim and taking very strong, forceful bully ball moves also in the fourth quarter. I really liked seeing that, mixing it up. And the fact that, like I said, he got 26 points by the end of the game, that was really impressive to me because I didn't realize he had that many points until at the very end when I saw the box score. I was like, holy shit, OG got 26. He really did have an explosion late in the game to try and get us there. Let's see. Cool Cat saying we also need Koloko's 7-foot backup center. Gary is not a point guard, no creator playmaker skills. Mix the bench with the starters or use Dowtin Jr. as a point guard backup. NBA knows Nick Nurse's playbook and no counters. Yeah, he has to be creative and innovative. Well, maybe because he's been so innovative, maybe, like I said, he needs to go back to the basics. Have a 1-5 roles on the team that'll clear up any confusion about what people are supposed to be doing, and it'll throw people off because they're used to him being unorthodox. Will be orthodox, Nick Nurse, and maybe that actually is the counterbalance that will be really smart and throw people off. It's like, wait, Nick's playing regular kind of basketball with regular positions. Holy shit, that could actually really throw people off. Now, as far as like the backup point guard thing, I think Barton's going to develop into this. Hopefully, like he's been a dud so far. But I really want to see him do more of the Jeff Dowtin kind of work since Jeffrey's not going to be with them on this trip at all. So Will's got to step up and be the backup point guard to a degree. And he just, we're not seeing him getting integrated into the team correctly yet. But until then, we got to see first. I want to see him have a good game first and see what he actually adds to us because we're not seeing anything that Will Barton can help us with yet. But until we do that, because you may see him actually do some point guard stuff, and you'll be like, oh, actually, Will Barton could be our backup point guard because he is actually doing backup point guard stuff. So we could see. But I agree, Gary's not a point guard. He is not. And they should not be giving Gary or thinking Gary can be the point guard. Logical saying issues were once again, I'm not going to call him that. That's a stupid little pet nickname. Issues with Kristaps and Gafford were denying that dump off pass by ball denial defense. We use it a lot. We do it to Embiid. They did it to Poeltl. Our drives weren't as effective, leading to tougher shots. Yeah, they just packed the paint and didn't give us anything near the basket easy. And that they should do that with that kind of personnel on that Wizards team. That's the smart thing to do. Pack the paint because in some ways you got a two punch. They're very different. You got the lanky, not very physical shot blocker, mobile guy with Porzingis, and then you have the beef, the guy who can kind of be the muscle kind of guy, Gafford, and they can both block shots, and that's the crazy thing. So it's really difficult to score on them down low. So they need a mid-range. Maybe we need to take more mid-range shots. Where was the mid-range? The three's not making. You can't do anything down near the basket. Fucking take some mid-range shots, Raptors. Do some DeMar DeRozan shit. I didn't see anybody taking any mid-range shots last night. It was all fucking near the basket or threes, all or nothing. And both spots were stopped by the Wizards last night. Then maybe the mid-range was there and you didn't even try and take it or look for it. G saying Pascal sounded congested, to be honest. Is he sick? Is that what it is? Is SIAKAM actually sick on the down low right now? And that's half the problem. Maybe it's too much Red Bull, bro. Stop chugging Red Bulls all the time. Yeah. Line Hunter saying we will blow them out Saturday. Urgency will be there. Just wish we had it every game. Yeah, I'm not even going to say he had it. I'm going to say we, because all of them needed that urgency. I hope you're right. And if they have any like pride, if they have anything that they're going to show us Raptor fans that really love them to have hope, they're going to fucking show up correctly tomorrow and have a whole different story about this second game against the Wizards. If they don't, then, well, we know. This is fucked. This is fucked. This season is fucked. Fiercely saying Pascal's last 2 games, he's been really off. Wonder if it whatever it is, hope it gets resolved soon. Yeah, whatever it is, if it's something outside basketball, is a personal thing, whatever the fuck you're doing that's tiring yourself so fucking out. If you're sick, if you're not exactly healthy and you're still playing, maybe you are sick right now. It could be. Let's see. Go Gadget saying at David, they're not younger than last year either. Guys out there playing for themselves to get money. They're not trying to win as a team. Siakam can't handle the pressure, starting to show defrozen 2.0. Okay, first of all, I'm going to give you a strike because the word defrozen should never be used on the Raptor Freak stream. So you're getting a strike today, Go Gadget. So tread lightly. Listen, you guys can make it all this and this about last year and this year and why we aren't better than last year and all this kind of stuff. Once again, as Masai says, development isn't linear. He says linear, but it's not linear. And that means it doesn't just go, there is going to be a little, and you can have an off year. This is obviously an off year for the Raptors as a team. This is an off year. And we need to, in some ways, give allowances for that too. The franchise isn't just going to steadily climb and just be, there may be an off year, and then the next year is like a boom, a huge dump of progress and development and showing good positive growth. And that's what I'm saying, y'all. It's not linear, as Masai Ujiri would put it. So that's the argument here. Listen, you guys can say, oh, that kept the same guys. Why aren't they better and all this kind of stuff? Well, like I said, there's been a lot of different problems, injuries, really weird shit happening to us. The schedule was built against us. First of all, that's another thing that people don't talk about enough, that this schedule was very consciously made for us to lose. A lot of the games this season were trap games and scheduled losses and made that way. You can tell because a lot of our back-to-backs on the second night, we have top Eastern Conference teams against us, like that Cleveland game last weekend. That there's so many back-to-backs where the second night of the back-to-back is Boston or Milwaukee or Philadelphia or Brooklyn. There was so many like that this year. So the schedule makers set up a season where we were going to be fucked for most of the season already. You look at how we started the season with the crazy ass games at the very beginning, and we played really well through that considering. So, there's all kinds of contributing factors to why there's been a drop off in how good we are from last year. We caught some good lucky breaks last year also, and we had found a groove in how to win games for a while, and that really helped our record. We've never found that groove this season exactly right. And that's the difference. We did not find this groove where everything just clicked like it did in the year before. And that is a big part of the reason, right? Yeah, don't ever say defrozen again. Fuck that shit. We give respect to our guy. Savage saying Red Bull gives you rings. Gives you rings. I hope they give you rings at some point. But yeah, fucking don't be chugging Red Bulls. Seriously, I know you endorse them, Siakam, but they're not good for you as a professional. They really aren't. If you're drinking Red Bulls every day, maybe this is part of the problem. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Seymour's laughing at Savage. Saborin saying, yeah, I agree, Savage. They're a year older, not thrown together. That was my point. I agree, though. Many trying to get contracts, it seems. The love of basketball doesn't seem to be there. All right. I'm not going to paint that money stuff into this because, it could be an underlying factor. You guys might be right, but I'm not going to purport that. I'm not going to put that on my platform and continue that line of thinking because I don't think it's exactly true. They're thrown together as far as we've been playing basketball without a center for like a good 2 or 3 years. And now all of a sudden we got a center that is thrown together as far as like we have to change our identity and how we play our systems because we have the benefit of a center all around. That means there is some adjustments and that it is thrown together to a degree because that is such a big, huge, impactful position. So I know y'all don't think this team's been thrown together, but Poeltl just singularly coming, not even Barton. Forget about Barton. Poeltl being on this team means we are thrown together in the last 2 weeks. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. That position is too important. He's eating too much minutes, and there's too much stuff happening around him that is making it still thrown together. Because all these guys that never played with Poeltl like the other guys did before, they have to learn him, like Scottie and Precious and Chris. Chris, I think, played with him. No, he didn't actually. He came in right after he left. So Chris has never played with Poeltl. So that's what I'm saying. It is thrown together just because of Poeltl. And you can disagree with me, David. It's fine. G saying with Porzingis and Gafford, they needed to use the mid range better to pull them away from the rim. Holy crap. I was just saying this a couple of comments before. I didn't read your comment ahead of time. So once again, great minds are thinking. We should have been using the mid range last night. And we may be really shocked to see them shoot a lot of mid range tomorrow. That could very well be one of the adjustments. They say, well, they're taking down low. We're not shooting well at 3. Let's get the mid range going. Jimmy saying this looked the same team that we saw in the beginning of the season. I thought we were past that and making progress, but I guess not. Laugh out loud. Some of the bad habits of earlier this season are still not around, and we haven't killed them off completely. There's a lot of people looking in the mirror today. I'm going to tell you, Nick Nurse, Pascal, Fred, Gary, even Scottie to a degree should be looking at the mirror a little bit about how we played last night. MK saying our spacing is really bad. The difference in spacing between the Wizards and us was very noticeable. Yeah, I'll agree with this. We look too clumped up. We look unorganized. We don't look smooth. We don't look like we're working together as a well-oiled machine. Meanwhile, the Washington Wizards know exactly what their game plan is in their offensive systems, and they're executing it. And we're not. They've had a whole season of having their guys all on the same roster, and they can figure it out and stuff like that. They've had time. Monique saying, don't give up, Gary. Stay focused, stay shooting. I know I doubted Eric Curry in the past. Sorry, keep going. Thoughts on Charlie Barkley, load management? He is right, Lex? No? Okay, I don't know what Charles Barkley said about load management, but I'll just talk about in general the whole idea of load management. Yeah, it is bad for the league. And the more players take more responsibility for wanting to be in the games and showing up no matter what and being like Anthony Edwards, the better for the game. I don't know what Charles Barkley said specifically, though. I still doubt Eric Curry. I hope that this team does really well for 905, but I don't know. I haven't been impressed with him this season. But hopefully they close really strong. And like I said, they win most of their games and they get in the playoffs. Then I'll think much highly of him. If he does make it to the playoffs and they do something, I'll be like, yeah, Eric Curry, good job. But that's what he's got to do. And that's going to be really hard because of where they are. They're a 500 team. They're trying to make it to the top. That's going to be really hard. MSJ saying to swallow the whistle was to make sure the game went on time for TV. I think that's exactly right. MSJ is exactly right. There was something about Tony Brothers' watch, and he didn't want this game to go longer than it is. And because that game started right at 7, it's this earlier game than 7:30. There really is a thing about getting it in within a 2-hour frame with 9 o'clock or not much past 9 o'clock. That is true that the referees will swallow the whistle partly because of TV time and trying to make the game shorter. And I totally got that vibe too, watching the game last night, MSJ. That part of the reason why in the fourth quarter and during the end of the game, they didn't want to call anything is because they wanted to get the game over. I don't know if Tony Brothers had some gala in Washington to go to or some date with some lady, his wife or something. I don't know what the fuck was going on, but he wanted to get the fuck out of that arena. And that's why they may not call the whistle too. That's exactly right. NBA is entertainment above all. Betting seems to have influenced it all too. I wonder and worry about this. Like opening up betting with the NBA is maybe a dumpster fire and a really bad thing. The problems with Donaghy are still relatively something that people wonder about and worry about. Tim Donaghy's betting. And now that people bet in real life, they can have influence. And, we know that the FBI knows that the mafia had Tim Donaghy in their pocket. There could be refs that are in the pocket of organized crime and they are manipulating score outcomes just to cause big winnings for certain bets by mafioso types. I mean, this is very much a pattern that has been established throughout probably the whole history of the NBA, that this happens on the down low, that the NBA doesn't like to talk about it. So they fully embrace legalized gambling to try and combat illegal gambling. Well, in some ways, you kind of open it up to more scrutiny that there may be people that really want certain things to happen on the court. And if they can pay people that can control it on the court, this is a big problem. So I don't like the direction that sports in general is going with gambling and betting sites and having it on TV so much and everything and everywhere. I think it's really bad for sports. And in the end, it may actually destroy sports to a degree. This betting stuff could actually take the NBA down in a way, in a bad way, eventually, if there's some sort of huge scandal related to something that I just described. Because don't be ignorant. Don't be naive. that you think that what I just described isn't happening right now. You don't think that there are organized crime syndicates making money off NBA games still because they have certain referees controlling things in certain ways? Yeah, that shit's still going on. And the NBA may have rooted out Tim Donaghy, but I don't believe this. I think that there is still an issue with this in their referees, and they may not even know which one it is because it could really be hidden and done in a certain way. So yeah, I don't totally trust the NBA for this reason, the gambling around it. So logical saying honeymoon over. It's time to get to work. They were riding a massive high with Poeltl's return, but now the league's adjusted. It's time to put up or shut up. The work is key to making it work. That's right. They got to work. And I think you're right. The honeymoon over of feeling good vibes of the Yak Sunshine may be a little bit over because people are starting to adjust to seeing tape with him on our team all of a sudden. And yeah, that they got to adjust themselves and still put in a lot of hard work. That's the thing. Poeltl's putting in the work out there. He wants his teammates to show up and put the work in alongside him. And he knows that certain guys are not putting in the work at the same level. Go Gadget Raptor is saying, no, we really don't need Fred Hero Ball. Last night is a perfect example of how Fred Hero Ball can go wrong quickly. I was literally shooting three 15 field goals and 1 of 10 3-pointers until his last 2 shots. Okay. All right. I'm going to respectfully disagree that, listen, this is what Fred's role's been on this team for a long time. And he has really got a lot of experience doing this. And there's been times in the last couple of years where Fred's been absolutely cold for the whole entire game. And then all of a sudden he wakes up in the last 6 minutes of the game and scores like crazy and brings us home to the win. Fred has that kind of allowance on our team where we know he's the green light to shoot, even if he's missing, because we know he could miss 10 shots and then he makes the next 5 or 6 in the end of the game where it really matters. So I am disagreeing with you all around on this. Even though he doesn't have his rhythm right now and he looks like dog shit, it is right for him to be taking late game shots because he has a history of snapping out of it and making those shots even if he's missed earlier. So I'm going to disagree with this. I'm going to give you a half strike. So you're 1.5 at this point. So just be careful. Country Kong saying, good morning, Raptors freaks. The game was tremendously disappointing for a variety of reasons. A lot of us search desperately for excuses to make for this team. I just think we're in over our heads. No, Country Kong. We're not in over our heads. We know what we're doing. We're a professional basketball team. It's just that we didn't fucking come to the game correctly, prepared. And the coach did some stupid ass decisions during the game. And then, like I said, a lot of the players had off nights and just decided that they weren't going to be available to play correctly last night. So there's a lot of things. I won't read into this past this game last night. It's very much a one-game island. Last night was last night, and that's it. That story's over. We write a new story tomorrow. And don't expect that what they did last night is just who they are for the rest of the year. No. They have more pride than that. And they are going to fucking get out of this still. Watch. It's just one game. And it's too bad that it was last night. Fiercely saying shooting was dreadful. Missing layups, Pascal. Not making points off turnovers as opposed to them. Yeah, they capitalized on all their turnovers. We got similar amounts of turnovers. But they scored on all their turnovers, and we didn't. We did not capitalize on them. So bad. Fiercey's right. No hate, but Kuzma was effective. I like Kyle Kuzma. He's the kind of player, he said he'd come to Toronto. He's so crazy. He's like not playing by the rules with tampering. He's on Twitter tampering left and right all the time. And Raptor fans straight up said, come to Toronto. And he said, I would come to Toronto. I think he did actually say that. He's the kind of player I wouldn't mind having on our team. Kyle Kuzma is a badass, and he's somebody I would welcome in a Raptors jersey at some point later on if it was going to happen. So, but yeah, he was really good. I respect the guy. In some ways, I like him because he was a cast-off from the Lakers, and he's got anger towards them, and he wants to kill them. And in some ways, I really respect that he was like kind of a cast-off from LeBron, and he's kind of got a chip on his shoulder because of that in his career. And so I respect that. Mike's saying, I call him, yeah, all right, you're a horrible speller and don't care to learn the spelling. So you call him that. Okay. I just don't like cute nicknames for other players on other teams. The little cute nicknames people have like JoJo for Embiid or, stuff they have for the Celtics and stuff. Fuck all that shit. It's not out of respect. I think that name's funny too. Yeah, I mean, people they deal with like tinnitus or what is tingus? I don't even know what a tingus is. Maybe I'll have to look up the definition. G saying, I really like Dowtin in every way. Good player, student in the game, keeps working, doesn't complain, good example for others. Yeah, he's a real one. He's a good one. And you know what? Listen, I'd like to see him transition to being a full NBA player and having an NBA career because he really is right on the cusp of possibly getting that at this point. And I think he deserves it. I think if we don't have a place for him, I hope we do. He will find a place somewhere on some team this summer, somewhere, and he won't be putting his foot in the G League anymore. I think that he needs to be a full-time NBA player because he deserves it. He's really worked hard, and he is that good. Monique saying a must-win tomorrow. No ifs, ands, or buts. I wonder why OG didn't speak to the media post-game. The better player. I don't care. Don't let OG come in there and talk. I mean, there's no reason to. I mean, they had Poeltl and they had Boucher and they had Nick. And Poeltl and Boucher played well. So I don't mind that. I mean, OG could have come in and talked to the media, but, if he doesn't want to talk to them, I think it may be because he talked in the last game after the game. Didn't he have the press conference after the game against the last team? So that may be why for the Bulls. So let's see. Monique's saying, hopefully Precious gets out of his funk soon. Yeah, we'd like to see that. It's kind of like the weird reverse of last season after the All-Star break. Precious was on fire and playing at a huge high level. And now after the All-Star break this year, he's not. It's the opposite. It's really bad. Cowboys saying, good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. I'm not going to say anything negative about our team, but I hope they figured out whatever it is to get things right. Wake up, Raptors. Let's go. There you go, Bradley. You keep staying positive on this Friday, TGIF. And if y'all need anything done around your house, painting, cleaning, ta-da. They're in the phone book. They can help you out. Bradley will come to your house and help you. Yeah, I appreciate you, keeping your mouth shut. You don't have anything nice to say. Don't say anything at all. And that's what they taught us when we were kids. And this is true in this to a degree. I mean, some people are going to have like critical things to say and they want to say it, but Bradley's taking that route and saying, I don't have anything to say about it. I just hope they get it together. And I'm trusting that they will. Mike's saying, when you add a new core piece, roles shift. There's a period of everyone figuring out what's needed and cementing roles. Adding higher and higher talent creates roster issues, more players shifting, so it's normal. Yeah, it's that. And obviously, because he's the center, he shifts everybody down a bit. So there is a lot of adjusting. And he's such an important piece and such a focal point of our team in some ways that is a huge part of why it's totally different. It's totally, totally different. All right, let's see what Go Gadget Raptor's saying now. To be honest, the teams we were beating before the Cleveland loss were all below 500 teams, except for Zionless New Orleans and Brooks and Adams-less Grizzlies. Beat below 500 teams versus and struggle versus above 500 teams. Yak played 32 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, he played like 10 in the first half, and then he played almost everything in the second half. Yeah. All right. This is true, technically, what you're saying. But once again, I'm like, listen, why we got to point out all the negative shit? We got wins. We started winning. We put more in the win column. Sure, that some of the teams were below 500. They were easier part of our schedule and stuff like that. And sure, some of the teams we beat were missing key players. But I don't give a shit. Seriously, listen. The fucking Wizards, we played them for the first time this season last night. I wish we could have played them earlier in the season, like in November, because they didn't have their shit straight then. They were losing. They went like on a 15-game losing streak last fall. And, it would have been nice to play them one of the games this season at that time instead of all the fucking games against them are jammed up for the rest of the season from now. That's what I'm saying. Some of this is luck. It just happens to happen when you fucking see a team. And we're just unlucky that we're going to have to see the Wizards when they have their shit together for the 3 games that we're going to see them for the rest of the season. So listen, poo-poo them getting wins or whatever. This season has been tough. Like I said, the schedule was built against us. There's all kinds of problems. Poo-poo the wins we've earned. We scratched and clawed and got. Go ahead and poo-poo all over them. I'm going to give you another half strike. So you're at 2. So be careful because I'm sick of this shit. I mean, listen, sure. Those teams were easier. I will admit that, but they were fucking hard-earned wins in a season where we are having so many struggles. I will take them, okay? I will take them. Let's see. I'm a fun guy saying, and that's what I meant about that. He can get in Scottie's face, but he can't vet Fred and Pascal and hold them accountable. Thank God for Jakob. Well, I think Thad can do that to a degree too, but some of it may not be public. They don't want to put all this kind of shit on public blast because in some ways, like the Fred haters will have like Jakob saying that now. and saying, yeah, even Jakob's saying this stuff. Like, that doesn't want to throw him under the bus publicly. And he won't do that for the most part. He's not even throwing, he didn't really throw Scottie on the bus either. It's just that was so visible. He keeps all that kind of shit private. So we don't know how much he's actually saying to Pascal and Fred about things that are happening on there. And maybe it's not his place, it's Nick's place to kind of do that. Maybe because they don't want to cause any kind of conflict. It was like Thaddeus could say it and Will Barton can say it. Look, we've been on playoff teams. We've been in this league for a long, long time. And this isn't good enough, guys. The effort, the preparation, the mindset is not right for a team that wants to do well in the playoffs. So, you know, they can lead in that way. It may not be that they can lead in very specific ways. Like, what is that going to come and tell Fred? You say, you got to go get your rhythm back and start making shots again. Well, fucking Fred knows that. What does he need to tell him that? Fred knows exactly what he needs to do to get better. So it's not like Thad can do anything to tell him that. Now, Thad could maybe come to Pascal and talk to him about his mindset and getting more of a killer instinct. Yeah, that would be good leadership. But really, what is he going to say to Fred? He's just going to say, you need to shoot better. Well, I know that. We all know that he needs to shoot better. So I don't know. It's a little weird. And I don't know. The accountability on this team has been kind of delineated recently. Masai's looking at Nick. Nick is looking at the players. And the leaders on the team should be looking at each other, too. Let's see. Go Gadget saying it's not up to Nick Nurse to call for a Fred and Poeltl pick and roll. That's totally up to Freddie. So if a pick and roll doesn't get run, it's because your guard isn't trying to call for it. That may be somewhat true. Yeah, I wanted to see more pick and roll action between the two of them, but is that totally true? I mean, it could be that Nick didn't call those play sets. I don't know. It may be that they didn't think that they should do the pick and roll with the personnel of the defense with the Wizards, because part of the pick and roll is that Fred might need an open lane to make the shot on the pick and roll, and he can't dump it off. Well, there's really good shot blockers around there, and that may be part of it. They may play off the pick and roll in a way where they dare Fred to go there, and then they just block his shot. So there may be all kinds of other reasons other than just they didn't go to it, why they didn't go to it. That it could be that the defense, the way that Washington was playing with the two centers, didn't allow for the pick and roll to be done well, is basically what I'm saying. Yeah, it may be. I don't know if it's just Fred's not calling it. I don't know if that's true. Jimmy's saying, I know it's one on the coach. It's on the coach, but it's not. It is not the team out there on the court not competing. Is it not the team on the court that's competing, playing like garbage, not guarding a damn thing, and can't hit shots, etc.? Yeah, that's why I equally blame both. I mean, the players didn't have the right energy or preparation or attitude about the game in general, and then the coach was just not coaching very effectively or doing a good job of adjusting or encouraging the team to light a fire in their ass and do better. So, you know, we can blame both. There's equal both of blame in this way. You know, I think the players do really control it. They are the ones on the court that have to make it happen. And Nick does have his hands tied to a certain degree. And yeah, he can't do anything if they're not going to do it. He can tell them the game plan and say, go do this and we'll win. But if they don't execute it, then what the fuck can he do? So there's a little bit of both to blame. And I can see where the areas where they're to blame for sure, the players, and where, you know, Nick, you could have done better with the decisions that you made as far as when you're playing who and where. G saying they almost need to build the starting lineup around Jakob. 2 shooting guards, 2 forwards. I think Cool Cat mentioned it, but more defined roles. A good forward coming off the bench would be a problem for Nurse. Yeah. I like this. I think Poeltl is the guy you got to start with how you build it. And just because he's such a defensive presence, you need to really value his minutes and make sure he gets a good chunk of the game and really be smart about when you don't have him out there and what reason why and how long you can buy minutes without him out there. And then you stagger and figure out your rotation off of that. I think you're exactly right, G. And I agree with this. And I think that once again, you're reiterating Cool Cat saying we need better defined roles. Well, this process of building the team around Jakob for the lineup will allow for that. That seems like that'll just naturally happen if we do this that way that you're describing. That you have a point guard, you have a 2, you have a 3, and you have a 4, and they're playing that role in the whole thing. Fuck all that positionless shit. Let's get back to the basics. Seymour saying, I blame Gary. He's a starter. He came off the bench and did little to nothing. Dowtin should have been used last night, in my opinion. Well, Dowtin was here. He wasn't in Washington. So he wasn't available for them. And Barton is supposed to be that guy instead. It's Barton who's supposed to step up and do the Dowtin stuff at this point. Uh, Gary, I hate it. Sometimes he's just going to have bad games, and that was last night. In some ways, I don't blame Gary too much because I expect him to have bad games like this from time to time. And he's been playing so well this season overall. I mean, if you look at the percentage of dud games he's had this season compared to really good games, it's not as much, and it's better than last year in a lot of cases. So he's been carrying a lot of water for us this season. So if he has one dud game all of a sudden, I'm not that mad at him for it because he's due for one. He was due for one last night. It's just a perfect storm of really bad things happening all at once last night. Mike's saying they were doubling Poeltl and pick and roll and leaving Fred open-ish on the shot. It would have created the same shot we were missing already, not gonna lie. Pick and roll is used to create a shot. We didn't need that. We needed makes. Yeah. Mike's kind of describing a little bit of what I was saying, but also that that wasn't the problem. Although some people were really crying out for it on Twitter last night. It's like, where are the pick and rolls? They were so effective with Poeltl. And it's not even that they have the pick and roll have to happen with Fred. It can happen with Pascal, too. The Pascal pick and rolls are really good, too. Lion Hunter saying people need to stop using the Cleveland loss as some type of metric to suggest we can't beat good teams. That was a scheduled loss. I completely agree with this. Lion Hunter is exactly right. I mean, that game gave a lot of fodder to the haters, the people that are pessimistic about the Raptors and think that we're a pretender, that we aren't a serious team that can beat top teams. And I hate that. And then this loss is going to add more to that fire. And I hate that. That's why we need to prove. We need to have some big games like the one with Denver coming up where we fucking beat a top team, because we need to show these pessimistic people in Raptors Nation that don't believe in this team that they can beat top teams that we can. So Raptors, you have some things you need to prove just to the Raptors Nation. And that is that you can beat a top team and that you're not just beating slouches below 500 teams, that you can take a top team out, because you did that a lot last year. And we're not seeing as much this year. We need you to take them out and stop this narrative that's being pushed by pessimistic, negative Raptors people that they are honestly, they don't want this team to succeed. They'd rather be right and say that, yeah, I was right. They suck. They're not good enough to beat Cleveland. That's how I feel that these people that come up with these criticisms are. You're not really fans. You don't want the Raptors to win. You're not a positive person for the Raptors. You'd rather be right that they suck and be right and say, yeah, they couldn't beat Cleveland. They couldn't beat Washington last night. They just suck. And I was right. Yeah, I get a badge for being right. Well, you're an asshole too, is what you are. Yeah. Let's see. Sheer Khan saying, morning, Raptor freaks. Oh boy, that was a stinker. Raps have a tendency to let teams with dynamic players jump on us. That Cavs game with Mitchell and Allen and Mobley, and now Kuz and Beal at Washington. Defense has to be better. Yes, Sheer Khan, you are exactly right. That defense has to be way, way better. And yeah, I like how you put it, dynamic players like Donovan Mitchell and Kyle Kuzma. Yeah, maybe we need to cut those dynamic players out. Cut them down. Shut them down. Get that water. Where's the OG Plumbing Company? Where is that OG Plumbing Company? We need to shut the water off. Where is that plumbing company been? We have not been talking about plumbers lately. We need more plumbing. Let's see. Fun guy saying, all right. Well, it jumped again. Let me just get back on here. Fun guy is saying, what did Fun guy say? All right. Where is that comment by Fun guy? There's a lot, so I want to make sure I get there. Where is Fun guy? Okay, I got a lot to go. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get all these. Okay. Whoa, everyone, relax. Yesterday's only issue I saw was energy. I'm willing to bet you money Raptors blow them out on Saturday. Energy level determines too much for us, and yesterday we were flat. I love this attitude, and I think Fun Guy's exactly right. We can see a whole entire different kind of game. We come with the right energy. We come correct, because we didn't come correct last night. I'm with Fun Guy on this. I think I see this happening too. Monique saying, love how OG guarded Bradley Beal. Okay, that's good. Space Cadet saying, congrats to 600 subscribers. It really should be 6,000. Oh, Space Cadet, I appreciate it. That's very kind of you. Well, keep getting each milestone. I remember when I hit 300. I remember when I hit 400, 500. These are important milestones, and we can get to 700, 800, 900, 1,000. Boom. 1,000's my first real big goal, obviously, to open up the channel to be a partner with YouTube. But listen, each one is important and special. And honestly, when I started this channel, if I thought that I'd have 600 subscribers, I'd be like, wow, that's really good. Seriously, considering it is hard to gain traction on YouTube sometimes. If you're not like overly promoting yourself, like I'm not really promoting this channel too much. Shere Khan saying the problem is that we can't have drop off and playing games because we have two chances at most. At this point, we have to aim for the 7th seed at least. Can't let Washington leapfrog us on Saturday. Must maintain momentum. Yeah, Shere Khan's thinking about it near the end. If we are going to be in the play-in, we need to be in the 7th or 8th seed because at the 7th, well, we have home court advantage in 2 elimination games. Hopefully, we just win the first one and we get that 7th seed. Well, if we're in the 8th seed, we don't get a home court advantage in that game, we lose, but we get home court advantage in the second game to stay in. So 7th or 8th seed, if we're not going to get a full playoff spot, is very, very integral and important because we want to have home court advantage in a elimination game, just in case in the play-in. So we need to have 7th or 8th at the worst. Let's see. Mike is saying chemistry would be off with the revolving door of injuries and stuff. It's hard to get rhythm with pieces in and out so consistently. It's just luck of timing with things this year. We have grown though. Yeah, there's a lot of hidden growth that people just aren't seeing in results. And that's the thing that could be really interesting. Is like we have this off year, all this growth that we had this year, it may dump with a bunch of growth next year too. And all of a sudden we just have this huge leap that we take as a team. And everybody like, whoa, I didn't see this happening. They were absolute dog shit last year. Why are they so much better this year? That's what I'm saying. It's not linear. It's not linear. I keep wanting to say it like Masai, linear. It's not linear. It could be very much a dump of all the great added things that we've done in the development on the download that we didn't get any rewards for it with the results may happen next year. And everybody be like, holy shit, how come the Raptors made such a huge jump this season? Well, we were actually quietly making it in a really bad year the year before. And I believe that. Seymour saying us doubting is normal. Yesterday was a meaningful game and they didn't bring the fight. When it counts, they are nowhere to be found. If they lose the next one, I will hold my tongue in support. Positive vibes. All right, Seymour, I hear you. And I'm with you. I'll be a little worried if there's like a couple of games in a row where they have like a really poor show up. And I'll be like, yeah, this team isn't committed. They're not serious. And we're fucking done. If that happens tomorrow and then it happens another game, I'll be like, yeah, we're waving the white flag. And whatever happens the rest of the season, so be it. Just play through the rest of the games, go through the motions, and whatever. You guys aren't serious about things, obviously, because you're not winning games when you really need to. Go Gadget saying at Lion Hunter, a scheduled loss, or because Mitchell and his new team, the Cavs, have now fully meshed compared to earlier in the season. Well, that is a contributing factor, but it is a scheduled loss because of the schedule makers. That's what he means when he says that. We played Detroit at noon the day before, and we had a back-to-back. That was very much scheduled by the NBA schedule makers to be a hard game for us to win. And then you add in Ed Malloy showing up and being the head crew chief for the refs. He added the extra part from the ref side because he was very much doing a hit job and he did want to help the Cavs win that game. So there was a lot of things about it that was scheduled for us to lose to them. I knew we were going to lose that game in some ways that morning when I saw Ed Malloy and the referee crew. So, that is when he says schedule loss, that's what he means is that the schedule was very tough for us to win that game because it was a back-to-back. And then also, yeah, they sent a referee to do a hit job. So that's what he means with that. Now, Mitchell had a phenomenal game and he was hitting everything. And that was a huge part of it too. Savage is saying OG turnovers in the fourth were costly. We were making a run, then it never got close after. Bright spot on the stat sheet, but in my eyes, the only one worth a pass is Poeltl. Okay, so you're discounting what OG did with all the scoring late in the game because he did have key turnovers at times also. And I did see what you're talking about. And that is fair, Savage, to say. I say that too. But still, you got to admire how much he was scoring and how he did kind of, we were down by 20 and he made it at least a 10-point loss instead by the end of the game. What did we lose by? We lost by 11. Yeah, it could have been more. The gap was much wider and OG shrunk it to a degree in the fourth. Jan's here. Good to see Jan. I'm tired of Nick Nurse's defense. It doesn't work. We have a disconnect on switching our weak side help is garbage. We overcommit too hard in the paint. Our closeout is trash at the 3. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that. And you know what? Listen, if they don't have the right energy or effort, the closeout's going to look really bad. The defense isn't going to look proper. They're not going to cover for each other correctly in the over gambling. And that is part of the problem. So it's like if they're going to play Nick Nurse's style that he demands, they have to come with the right energy. Because if they don't, they're going to lose assignments and we're going to lose. And that is a big part of the recipe for why we lost last night. Good to see you, Jan, by the way. Logical saying facts is one of 82, which always needs to be in mind with games to game things. Spicy went to All Star and had to carry a lot with Fred out. He will bounce back. Spicy's a fighter and will be up to play again. I really hope so. And if he's just sick, like if he has some sort of illness right now and that's why he's not exactly right, okay, I can understand why he's not playing at a high level or he got tired in the second half. But still, listen, you got to realize, like you said last year, Pascal, you can't afford to be tired for our team. We need you to be available and high energy and at your best all the time. You're that essential. All right, Go saying Siakam is great and the hardest worker with historic leaps, but he's not a number one. You can get that dog in you at 28, 29 years old. You get that as a youth when you're on the court destroying everybody your age. You know what? Go Gadget. This is probably your best comment today. And I can get behind all of this. He's great. He's a hard worker. He shows the dedication with his schedule, getting up early, working hard every day, no days off in the off season, all time. Rico Hines working out, all this stuff. But he's exactly right. You don't get dog in you or winning killer instinct at that age. If you don't have it at that age, you're just never going to have it. That's the thing. You got to be a little kid and you got to be on the court and you got to really have that street ball mentality in that way. In some ways, Siakam has never been a street baller because of his path into the NBA. He started so late and then it was really like organized and he never really had the chance to get on the blacktop like a little kid and talk trash and learn that kind of like competitiveness from that kind of aspect of basketball. And I think this may be actually part of the reason why he can't be the number one in the way he's supposed to be. Because I agree with this too. The Go Gadget is right. He's not exactly really a number one. He shouldn't be a number one. He should be a number two with alongside somebody like Kawhi, like we did before. And I'm hoping Scottie could possibly become this number one next to him, or maybe even OG could be the number one with the way he was taking over last night. But I agree with what Go Gadget's saying here. Go Gadget may have two strikes, and one more will put him out. But that is actually the right comment right there with what he said there. Cool Cat saying, I mentioned that Poeltl form is much better for his free throws. He's still using his dominant hand, but he bends his knees first and follow through his body and flick the wrist, and he focuses on his free throws. It may be that, like I said, that they just matter more. They worth more. In San Antonio, they're losing anyway. Who cares? He's casual. He doesn't have to concentrate or worry about it as much. Well, this matters more to him now. And that may be the biggest difference. Your concentration's better when you really care and it matters. And I think that that's the biggest problem for bad free throw shooters is they have poor concentration. That was the biggest problem for Shaq. He could not concentrate up there. And sometimes when Siakam misses his free throws, that's exactly what's wrong. Is he's not concentrating on the free throw. His head's somewhere else. And he's not breathing, taking his time, and shooting the free throw. Well, that may be the biggest adjustment for Jakob. Besides the form stuff that you're talking about, as far as with his dominant hand, it's really maybe he's just concentrating more, taking his time, and really thinking about making it. And that's what's his success in making 7 free throws last night. Mike saying, cool cat, facts. You did say it. Also, more described from you, though. Yes, to everything you said, plus to add, you see the flick follow through with the pointing fingers and him holding the fingers out after the release. Seriously, guys, I'm going to turn around and give you guys credit for making these, saying this stuff, and I didn't believe you. I was wrong. I was very wrong because I was like, he can't get better at free throws. This is like this far in his career. He can't improve. Well, he's showing mechanic changes, like you guys are pointing out. And you're exactly right. He has improved, at least right now. Let's see how he does in the next game or the next couple games. Let's see if he reverts. He just had one really good free throw shooting game yesterday. We'll have to see. Monique is saying, I absolutely love how Alvin was calling for the pick and roll heavily. Better days, better days. Yeah, I didn't get to listen to them, unfortunately. I was on the Washington stream. And I didn't want to hear Drew Gooden. He annoys me. So I just turned the volume down last night. So I didn't hear any commentators. I straight up watched the game in silence and just watched it with my own 2 eyes. So I wasn't getting any inflection from any announcers. I really did read this game with just what I was seeing and how I saw it. So, but yeah, I'm sure they did a good job. Once again, this is another thing I want to bring up. There is a weird thing with the TSN versus Sportsnet games that's going on this season. And we brought it up more earlier this season, but it's showing itself again. Our record when the game is on TSN is much higher and better. We win games when we are on TSN with Jack Armstrong calling the game. But when we're on Sportsnet, our record is way worse. Like, I don't know what it is about it or what it is, but when we play on Sportsnet, we are more likely to lose than we are when we play on TSN. And I'm trying to figure out how, or why this happens. What's going on with that phenomena? I don't know. I know that Adriana, if I'm going to make it really personal, she has TSN at home and she can watch all the games that are on telecast on TSN, but she cannot watch the Sportsnet games because her cable package does not have Sportsnet on it, which is so fucking weird to me. So, but she's a good luck charm to me. Like, I go to the games with Adriana, usually we win. If I watch a game with her company next to me, we almost always win. So I like to think maybe she's a good luck person. And then because her market, her cable package does not get Sportsnet, she's not able to watch these games. So we're not getting the Adriana luck factor from that. I don't know what it is. I made that up, or like that is something I just know is a fact of the whole situation. Is there a problem with our games being on Sportsnet? Is what I'm asking. Is there a reason why we're losing more games when Sportsnet's broadcasting our games than when TSN is? And is there some connection? I don't know. Maybe it's just a fluke. But if you go look at the record, it'd be very interesting. Mike, I know you love to do this kind of research. Maybe you should go look and see what our record is when TSN broadcasts and when Sportsnet broadcasts, because there does seem to be there's something weird going on. Cool Cat saying NBA is a copycat league. Every NBA team has used Nick Nurse's playbook and has improved upon it. And Nick Nurse has no counters. Wizards look and play like Raptors team. Two big centers, fast-paced transition. Yeah, he's just got to continue to innovate, Nick. That's what you got to do. You got to stay ahead of the game. You got to stay fresh. You got to stay innovative. If we were winning and you could be doing it and we're still winning, that'd be great. But it's not happening. I think he will get counters. He will. I have faith in him. Listen, he's been such a savvy, crazy coach his whole entire crazy international coaching career. He's going to figure this shit out. We're going to get this right. The players are to blame for a lot of this too, though. Honestly, they really are. Alistair's saying Precious needs to get traded or will be soon if he keeps up. Masai's not playing this team, has way too many power forwards. Besides not paying this team. I like Precious. I don't want to get rid of him. He's had one or two bad games recently. That's really crazy to want to get rid of him after that, Alistair. That's just too soon. It's not like he's had a huge bad year this year. He's actually had a pretty good year overall. So I think that's a little bit overreacting. MSJ saying at Cool Cat, could be that Nick Nurse's playbook has been studied and now the NBA just knows what to do versus the Raps. Familiarity with what Nick Nurse likes to do is true, but it's not totally what it is. Like I said, injuries, like Mike has said, the timing of injuries, the coming and going of people, the fact that the guys have had inconsistency and energy level that they bring to the game night after night is not the same energy. That last night was not a good energy, but on certain nights they come with a better energy. So that's maybe part of the problem too, is the inconsistency of how they show up. I don't know. I don't want to. You guys got to understand, in coaching, these coaches really do know how to adjust and make different plans to try and adjust for certain things that other coaches are doing. And I still like Nick as our coach because he's very good at adjusting on the fly. He didn't do a good job last night, but more often than not, he's very good at it. So I don't know. I don't want to pigeonhole him as saying everybody's figured him out and he's useless at this point. I don't think that that's true. Mike saying it's the limited options with rawness of the high talent on the roster. We have not built up the options against certain Nick Nurse playbook stuff. With more time, we will have moments to figure out every option. Yeah, we'll figure it out more and more as time goes on. Seymour Pape saying, salute all the women in the chat and all around the world. May y'all have a great month of March. Awesome comment, Seymour, and respect. And I'll double down on that. Happy Women's Month to all the women out there. We love you, and you're underappreciated and undervalued in so many different ways. And we need to change that. We need to have this world celebrate and put women on equal standing with men in all kinds of different ways, in different areas and arenas everywhere in this world. This world will be better for it. And I am a true believer that the sacred masculine has been in charge of this world for too long, has fucked it up, has been idiots, been stupid. Sacred masculine, take a step back. Let's let the sacred feminine take over for this planet and be in charge of things, because that is the power that will heal us. The women are all about healing in good, positive ways and stuff like that. We need that more than ever, and less of this aggression and war and stupid shit that men spawn. So I am all for the sacred feminine taking over the power from the sacred masculine, because in some way we need more women leaders, because they're better leaders than men at this point, is what I'm saying. Yeah, there you go. Go Gadget saying it logical. Hate to break it to you, but this team doesn't have much time to fix all that. Yeah, it's just the sad truth, and that's why they got to try and win and fix all that at the same time. It's going to be a tough mission, impossible. Dun 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 dun. But they can do it. Seriously, I believe in them. I believe in them, and I think they will figure it out. Like I said, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We had a step back last night. I'm a fun guy. Go Gadget. I think everybody kind of agrees to that by now. If Siakam was a true number one, we would be much better team considering how reliable he is. He truly rarely is out. Any team would love to go. It's never just about this year. Oh, wait, I'm reading 2 different people's things. Okay, yeah. So fun guy standing up for Siakam, but also saying, yeah, it's kind of true that he's not a true number one. I think we can all agree on that. In some ways, he really isn't like the number one guy that shouldn't be the number one guy on our team. He just doesn't have the character for it. Mike is saying, go. It never was about this year. We're always moving forward, and that builds up to being a playoff team. It's not changing pieces, growing the options with these pieces. The young need time. Yeah, I love what Mike's saying there, and that's exactly what Masai said too. We got to have time to develop, and patience is a virtue that the Raptors nation needs to get more in touch with and find more in their lives. That everybody could learn a little more patience in their life. And with the Raptors nation needs to have patience for sure. Let's see. Go saying at logical, this is not going to be the same team returning next season. You can bet on that. So there be more adjustments to come next year, unless replacing 1 or 2 guys does the trick. I think it's going to be only 1 or 2 guys. I don't think that we're going to have massive overhaul of the roster. I don't think that's likely. I really don't. I think that it doesn't make any sense, first of all. There may very well be something weird with like Gary or Fred this summer as far as like their situations. But I wouldn't expect there to be like any big trades. Like we're not going to trade Scottie, OG, or Pascal or anything like that. Anybody who thinks that kind of stuff's going to happen, you're crazy. So yeah, I don't think there'll be as much turnover as you think, but there may be some adjustments, and I think it'd be more like 1 or 2 guys does the trick, as what you're saying at the end. MSJ saying at logical, yes, but why try to complete the puzzle with pieces that don't fit? Given the trade deadline moves, it was about this year. Well, it is about this year to a degree, but not totally. These moves are for beyond this year also. I mean, Jakob is going to be our center for years to come when we re-sign him this summer. I know this is going to happen. No doubt. I have no doubt that Jakob Poeltl is going to be signing with us, and he will be a Raptor for years to come very soon. So in some ways, that move, even though it had happened then and it's on this season, it's actually for next season and years to come. As far as Will Barton, that's not totally clear. It's kind of like it's a tryout with him. And if he does not fit and he doesn't work, well, then we're not going to keep him for the offseason. So that's that, there's a little bit difference. Like the Poeltl is for long term, but I don't know if the Barton one is. So we'll have to see. As far as guys just in general on the team, do they fit or not? I think they do. It's just that they need to be coached better and have their roles defined better so that they can work better together. And that's the biggest problem with them, whether they fit as a team or not with puzzle pieces. Cool Cat saying, repeating what was said, a number of players are up for contracts, and it's hard to play for each other when they have agents telling them to work on getting their numbers up to get their contract. Ooh, I mean, I hate to think that that's what it is. I mean, the signals with Fred aren't really showing that, as far as things. Gary, I mean, whatever. We want Gary to be selfish and score a lot. We needed that last night. So I don't know if this argument has anything to do with how we lost the game last night. And I don't know. I really am trying to be positive and not think that these guys care about the money as much as they probably do. I really do try and overlook that factor in things. And that may be a blind spot for me. But I don't like to think that these guys are just all about the money. But there may be some truth to this year in particular. Logical saying, go. Okay, who confirmed that? Bobby, Masai? Yeah, we will see. MSJ, how so? Poeltl is a piece for now and the future. That's what I was just saying. The other moves don't say much. Messiah says patience because we're a young team still. Not gonna lie. Yeah, he wants to grow around Scottie. He really does want to grow around Scottie. And I think a lot of people will be happy for me to hear me say that. His patience is on Scottie's timeline. It's not necessarily on Pascal or Fred's. You know, they whatever. We're not worried about them. We're worried about Scottie's timeline. And that's the timeline we need to start syncing up and thinking about, you know, and how that works. MSJ saying, cool cat, you nailed the subtext. Money is king to these players. Maybe queen, given that Women's Day message. Laugh out loud. Sorry, I can't stop. Ha ha ha. Just kidding, ladies. At Logical, Raptor Fanatics, too many power forwards. Okay. I really don't want to think that money matters so much to them. I really don't. I want them to worry about this the most, but I hope that that's not the reasoning. I really hope you guys are wrong. Mike is saying, I respect you, MSJ. I know you know ball and are here to win or win or lose. Some other players tend to only really appear when the team loses. Then they have opinions agreed with. Respect for being a real one. Okay, so he's just recognizing that you're not somebody that's here just being negative. We know MSJ's good. They've been here for a couple months now. They've been really good part of our Raptor Freak stream. So once again, once you're ingratiated, you're good. You're good. And I don't think anybody's been too bad. Go was bugging me earlier, and that really, but for the most part, people are being very fair in their constructive criticism of the Raptors from last night. There's nobody who's too out of pocket with what they're saying that and not being fair with them. They deserve the criticism. Alistair's saying we were already down before Fred started chucking shots. He's the only floor spacer. Do you want this team shoot layups? This game is too evolved to play like it's 1987. Yeah, somebody made the joke on Twitter. It's like we're playing like we played like the game's played in 1923, not 2023. It's like we're playing 100-year-old basketball style when they were cagers and they were in there fighting brutal, kind of physical, like not really caring about shooting or anything. It was more about fighting. Yeah, I think the game has evolved past what the Raptors are trying to do, and that's part of the problem we've had this season. Is that Nick's got to mix and match the new NBA with the prevalence of offensive scoring and three-point shooting to the style he's been trying to build here the last few years. It doesn't totally jive, and that may be the biggest problem. It could be that the NBA saw some of the developments the Raptors were starting to make the last couple of years, and they're saying, how can we stymie them and make it harder for them to play their style in the NBA? Well, let's really ratchet up the offense and give really preferential treatment to offensive players with the referee's calls. And then it'll really kind of cut the nuts off on defensive teams like the Raptors from being able to do things effectively and win this league, because we really are putting a premium on our offense and letting them play it like crazy and making a scoring race. Well, that really hurts a team like us that isn't a very good scoring team that wants to play a defensive style game. And then the league is evolving the game against us in a way. I really do believe that the rule changes have hurt us in some ways. I thought that the no hand checking would help us, but no, it's hurt us. Actually, it's very much hurt us. Let's see. Logical saying go against, yes, but I think that's pretty much the same comment that you made earlier. Go saying spacing isn't created just by making shots. It's about who is on the floor and how everything moves as a unit. Having Scottie and Pearl on the floor at the same time kills all spacing. Ooh. Well, maybe Scottie just needs to adjust what he's doing. Maybe Poeltl just needs to get orientated further and understand specifically maybe how he needs to work with specific guys on the court. That's what I'm saying. They're still figuring it out. And that's a perfect example. It could be that Poeltl needs to work on how he spaces with the Raptors a little bit better and vice versa. They need to be used to having Poeltl out there and realize the spacing has to be done a little bit different. And that is a huge part of the adjustment in Poeltl's arrival and trying to figure things out, and why things aren't looking totally right is because we have to adjust to the spacing differences with having a big center. G saying a center is a must. So saying that Gogo is suggesting Scottie can't play with a center, so should he be the center? I've heard others say this, but then rather than limit is Scottie, I don't think it's true. Scottie can play center, and he's played center for us the last 2 years, but he shouldn't be. They can play fine together. This is not an issue. Gogo's not right in this respect. They can play together. There's no problem with Scottie playing with Jakob. In fact, they're very deadly together, and they are actually a good combo. It's just there's finer details and kinks. And last night we were seeing some of the problems with the spacing more pronounced than maybe in some of the games since Poeltl showed up so far. This is all can be adjusted and fixed. There's no hard, fast rule that says Scottie can't play with Poeltl. That's silly, and that's crazy. Cool Cat saying, one major thing I have noticed over the season, Nick Nurse does not know how to use Pascal's improved skills to ensure winning. Pascal on another team winning guaranteed. Players want him on their team. Okay, so Cool Cat's blaming Nick for not knowing how to utilize Pascal and his skills properly to maximize our winning chances. I don't disagree with this completely. I mean, the fact that Pascal is not more effective late in the game is, like, in some ways maybe the play calling by Nick Nurse. I don't know. The play sets, maybe they need to use him in a better way. I don't know. In some ways, also, I blame Pascal for not having Eye of the Tiger and that killer instinct that we were just talking about also. So I think it's a combination of both. I don't know. They got to figure this shit out. They got to do it. If they don't do it by the end of this year, they're going to definitely have to figure it out over the summer. And we need to have it kind of figured out for the beginning of next year and try and get this shit straight. Oh my gosh. G saying that's because he was a rental. On contract players are more valuable. I'm not sure who you're talking about. Logical saying Spicy has a unique game, and any coach would have issues fully using them, and everyone else well fitting. Our weaknesses at the moment dictate the style of play in certain directions. The fix is skills growing. You mean skills overall for all the players, not just for P skills. Yeah, okay. Alistair saying Go just said it. Scottie and Poeltl kills the spacing, so you bench Barnes, start Trent, and boom, problem solved. The line, the thing is, Nurse is trying to force a square peg into a round, and it doesn't fit. You know, there is a bit of a feeling around this team of trying to force something that just doesn't fit. I can kind of get that feel from this. But once again, I'm going to go back on what I just said. There's no problem with them playing together, and this is just something they need to adjust in like film session. It could very well be this morning they're watching this right now, and they're looking at like their spacing issues with Poeltl and Scottie, and they have an easy, quick fix. Well, you can't do this, Scottie, with Poeltl's on the court. Okay, I'll make sure I get out and I'm more on the wing. You know, I'm not as lurking down low. I don't know. They can fix this. Like I said, there's no hard, fast rule that Poeltl and Barnes can't be on the court together because I've seen the opposite. I've seen them gang rebound and have toughness together as a force and a tandem on the team that's very, very attractive and very, very good. And that's part of why Scottie had such a good fourth quarter against the Bulls and kicked their ass with the blocks, is because when he has Poeltl next to him, he feels more tough and powerful out there. And he has a big guy that has his back. It's just like anything in a fight. You have a big dude in a fight with you, you feel more confident in the fight, right? Well, this is the same thing with them. And that's why I'm against this whole idea that you guys are trying to start, that Poeltl can't play with Barnes. That's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. Fiercely saying Kyle Kuzma's girlfriend is from Toronto. Maybe that's why he wants to come. Oh, yeah. That is what I remember now hearing, that he has that connection because of his girlfriend. Yeah, he could come here just because of her. That's why Otto came, right? Go saying, Alistair, problem is benching our rookie of the year. You can possibly go south real quick. There's a reason why Poeltl didn't play a single minute in the fourth versus the Bulls when Scottie was running up and down. The reason why he wasn't playing in the fourth is nothing to do with Scottie. And I'm going to tell you exactly why, Go. He wasn't playing the fourth is because they can't rely on him to hit free throws possibly. And if you have the lead and the team is trying to come back and they're close in that situation in the game, he could play in the game last night because we were coming from behind and trying to catch up to the Wizards. Well, in the game against the Bulls, they were close and behind us. So all they had to do is a hack-a-yak. And in situations, he may miss one or both of the free throws. That is a really sound strategy, to hack-a-shack on the hack-a-yak. So he didn't play in the fourth quarter because of that. It has nothing to do with Scottie. They had a good lead, and Scottie was playing defensive center, and it actually really worked well. It was a good switch. With him out there playing in there with Precious or whoever they were playing at the end of the game then. It was Gary, and Scottie played center. Gary was the replacement for Poeltl, and that worked really well. So that's why. It had nothing to do with that they can't fit out there together at the same time. It's because Poeltl's a shitty free throw shooter, and they would have done hacky-yak to try and get back in the game if we'd played him late in the Chicago game. That's why. That's exactly why. Logical saying, Go, I'm not going back and forth with you when I know who you are. Praying for Fred VanVleet to be traded and promoting that opinion as in losses only and having nothing good to say in wins or at all. Are you a Raps fan? Ooh, Logical's calling him out. You know, he does have 2 strikes, but he's walking that tight line pretty good. I mean, listen, he's doing okay as far as like being critical and not going overboard. But we'll see. I know he's still in the chat a bit here. We'll see if he's still good. Van Hoot is here. Good to see Van Hoot. How's it going over there on your channel? I hope you're doing good. Let's see. Precious needs to take off the horse blinders. When he drives, he goes up against three dudes at times and pass, please. Poeltl has a chance to be the best Raptors center ever. Oh, I agree with that. I love that last statement part. I agree with that for sure. I think that this is true too about Precious. He keeps his head down. He maybe doesn't have the court vision when he's driving, and that's why he's just so going to just drive. But you may be right. This may be a way that Precious can expand his game and improve. Start showing that really great dump off pass or something like that. I think this is all really good comment by Van Hoot. As far as horse blinders is a very good description of kind of what court vision Precious gets into when he puts the ball down on the court and he starts driving. So yeah, I'm all for this. He needs to show that he can pass too, because maybe people know exactly what he's going to do, and then they jump in front of him and he takes a charge. That's a problem. G saying, go, think I know where this is going. The other YouTuber started this Jakob thing. They need a center. To suggest that Jakob is a problem for Scottie now is not right. Okay, so you think that is part of the whole problem with things, is that now they're trying to start a new narrative that Jakob won't go with Scottie. They were doing Fred before. Now they're doing Jakob. This is very interesting. Go saying at Logical, yes, been since 2004. I'm just not a yes fan. Gee, not sure what you're talking about. I'm just saying on court, spacing is closed up, and I'm in close games. Hard to have them on court together. Okay, I disagree with that. You can have Scottie and Poeltl out there at any time, and you can figure it out. You can't have him you can't have him. That's just fucked up thinking, and we can't be like that. All right, so he's saying he's not a yes fan. He's saying maybe he's not like a totally like optimistic, positive fan like we are in some ways, and I can respect that. That's fine. That's fine. He's talking about the whole campaign by a certain YouTube channel to kind of say that Fred and Scottie can't coexist on this team. And he's saying that you're just switching Fred out for Jakob, and that you're doing a kind of similar action to what that channel was doing as far as trying to split, cause a divide on this team, and maybe make Raptor fans think that two Raptors can't coexist on the team together at the same time. And that's why we're wary of that, is basically that kind of mentality about that. Let's see. G is saying Scottie was playing shooting guard, so not sure how they can't play together. Even as a forward, don't understand. So Scottie can't play with centers. Jakob knows how to create spacing. They just need to gel. They just need to adjust. This isn't like a fundamental problem that's going to happen over and over again. This is just something they need to look at in the film, and they will fix it. It's not a fundamental problem. Van Hoot saying, by the way, I lost my voice. Haven't been able to create content recently, but shout out to you, Raptor Freak. In terms of last night, you got to do some simple things. Box out. That is partially coach and players. I appreciate that, Van Hoot. And I hope you get your voice back soon so you can get back into it and the grind that we do here on the YouTube. Yeah, boxing out was a problem. Sure, we were not finding guys. Now, that was an interesting thing about the Chicago game earlier this week, was that we went man-to-man and really was like finding guys and boxing out man-to-man. Well, we were not doing that well last night. We're not finding our mans and boxing guys out. And then also the Wizards were using a zone against us. And once again, the zone is really effective against us, and it sucks. Why can't we have a zone buster? Where's the zone buster? That's exactly what they should have done. You don't have it down near the basket. You don't have the three-point shot. Zone bust in the middle of the lane. Will Barton dribble to the middle of the lane and make a floater right at the free throw line. That's what you got to do when they're doing that shit to us. But yeah, it's partially coach and players' fault. See, Van Hoot's getting to the same conclusions as me. You can't fully blame Nick. You can't fully blame the players. It's a collective of blame from both. Alistair saying at GoGo, so you're trying to say Poeltl is the problem? Our Roy is a great brand value version of Pascal, and he's killing spacing, like you said. You know, that could be true. It's more on Barnes. Barnes is not savvy enough or vet enough to understand how he makes the spacing clogged up with what he's doing out there. You know, I would get behind that more. It's not Poeltl. Poeltl's not the problem. And then also talking about getting Scottie off the bench, that could be a problem because we want to keep Scottie happy. In some ways, I know you don't want to just kowtow to people, but we like Scottie to like playing for the Raptors. And I don't know if jerking around, putting him off the bench, may be what he wants. So that's another reason why I may not experiment with like wanting Scottie to come off the bench. It's because you may mess up with stuff like that. Hugh's saying, did my messages disappear? I don't know. I don't know. If you're having that problem, we're going to put this on you. and see if you are okay. So we're going to give you a mod. So there you go. See if your messages go through now. Fiercey is saying, let me see. Okay, it jumped again. Fiercey is saying, also, I remember someone trashed Scottie via Twitter when he was struggling early this season, and Kuzma showed support by writing the NBA is not patient. Yeah, I like that about Kuzma. Yeah, I love that about Kuzma. I'm glad you brought that up, Fiercely. That's true. People were coming after Scottie and saying he didn't improve in his second season. And Kyle Kuzma gave a reality check from an NBA player's perspective and standing up for Scottie and saying that, NBA fans and people are not patient. This is the biggest problem in the NBA right now is the people around the NBA that watch it are not patient people. It's like maybe this is indicative of young people in general. Y'all need to learn how to be more patient people. Maybe the instant gratification world of today is just fucking up people's minds and thinking everything happens instantly. DoorDash, whatever it is making everything too easy. And the people don't understand what hard work and time builds into things instead of fucking just having it all magically happen all of a sudden. I think this is one of the biggest conflicts with the perceptions of the NBA is that young people just don't understand patience is a really big problem. Logical saying, cool story, bro. Yeah, yes, fan. Yes, using real basketball facts and logic as being a yes fan. Wait, what? Bro, relax. Try and see what we actually have. Being a casual for 20 years ain't good. No, not good luck. Good luck. Mike is a little mad. Listen, I'm fine with people being pessimistic fans. We have to allow for the counterbalance of who we are because they inform us and they give us things to think about and look at. Now, if they're fair or not, or insulting or just stupid, then there's a problem. Yes. But I think that, Go Gadget's been towing the line a little bit on both sides and they're fine. Go Gadget's saying, bro, I'm relaxed. And we've seen what we've got. We've got 19 games remaining. Yak is great. These pieces just don't all fit together. See, he's pleading with us. And it's not that he's like, I don't think he's exactly off base. There are some things that aren't exactly congruent with our team right now, but I don't think it's necessarily that pieces need to move. It may be just the game plan or the way they're used needs to be changed a bit. KG's here. Good to see KG every morning, 9:30 a.m. We are talking Raptors at least for a couple hours, 3 hours today. Do you think Bobby and Masai will keep Jakob if our Raps flame out and do poorly in the playoffs, if we even get into the playoffs? We'll keep him regardless. I think that this has just been a need on our shopping list for so long, and now we got it. It would be stupid not to land him and just keep him around. Of course, they're going to try and keep Poeltl no matter what happens by the end of the season. Logical saying, go again. It's been a month, kind of. All All-Star break in there, but give them time to work out the fit kinks with the center, which they haven't played with since like Gasol. It's going to take a sec to figure it out. They haven't played with him longer than Gasol or whatever. I don't, Mike. Once again, your comments are a little all over the place and not really like making total sense. I understand what you're saying though. Gogo's saying at KG, yes, they'll keep Jakob for sure. He still adds. We'll probably resign him at 15 to 17 million a year, but they will make some other changes for sure, in my opinion. Not sure why man's going to kill me for an opinion. You know what? It's not the opinions. The opinions have been fine. I don't like that word defrozen. That's a big no-no. And there's a couple things you can do that will piss me off. Like if you talk bad about our NBA championship, like trying to say we would have won if Kevin was healthy, that will get you strikes real quick. There's just certain sensitive areas. And DeMar DeRozan, I do not like any Raptor fans talking shit about DeMar in any kind of way. And that word defrozen is very much a banned word here, and I will give you a strike for that. So that's why it's not necessarily your opinions of like what's going on with the team. It's just you took a cheap shot at a Raptor legend, and I'm not cool with that. Let's see. Gogo's saying that's fair. I think they fit, but their roles seem too ambiguous, in my opinion. Also, they haven't played with a true big for years, so they're still working it out. Yeah, I like what G's saying. I think that's right. And the ambiguous roles is a huge problem too. Cool Cat saying Kuzma's girlfriend from Toronto, California. So Toronto, Canada. Oh, okay. So he probably visits anyway. Is familiar with the city. Yeah, I can see that. Van Hoot saying Kuz and Yak were teammates with DeLon. Well, Jakob was teammates with DeLon because he was in the bench mob. I don't totally understand that. Kuzma's never been a teammate of us. but he is a teammate with DeLon now. DeLon was great to see DeLon on the court as a bench mob member on the other side, starting in point guard because Morris is out. 3 for 7 for DeLon Wright, 1 of 3 from 3, 6 rebounds, 11 assists, 3 steals, 7 points. 11 assists and 3 steals. That's fantastic. DeLon Wright, really solid. And if he could be in Will Barton's roster spot right now, I'd be very happy. That would be amazing. Shirkan saying that fun guy. Yeah, if Raps sneak in a practice, we can solve a lot of issues on D. Porzingis was last minute ad, so maybe threw off a rotation a bit. Even role players were hitting shots. Nick Nurse has to fix it. Well, they don't have to travel today. They're just sitting in Washington. So they better get a good damn practice in today. I'm sure they will. Kick some ass in practice. Make these adjustments and come correct tomorrow. You don't have to travel. You don't get no plane tonight. So just fucking come to correct tomorrow, Raptors. Please. Oh, my God. So we can stop the bleeding of Raptors Nation being out of pocket. Oh, my gosh. All right, let's see. Mike's saying relax and be patient is the key to the fan base at the moment. Masai has been trying to tell everyone what's happening, but everything needs to be now. It's a process for taking the right steps is key for later. Yes, Mike is exactly right. Gogo's saying at Mike, Masai and Nick don't have that much time. To be honest, they have their own contracts coming up and people to answer to above Larry. Only time will tell, but patience does run thin eventually. That's not true. They have all the time in the world. Masai Ujiri is under contract for like fucking 15 years or something right now. That man is under a huge contract he just got from them. That was the whole reason why Ted Rogers got mad. Masai's contract ain't coming up anytime soon. Now, Nick does have a contract that will be coming up soon, and it will be interesting. There is a little bit of truth to things may change with Nick Nurse, but listen, I'm going to say this. Once again, if y'all think Nick Nurse is in trouble with his job, think about how much Casey got to fail with Masai Ujiri year after year until he finally did fire him. So I realized I think Nick Nurse has at least 3 or 4 more years of fucking up before he'll actually fire him, just so y'all know. So, yeah, I wouldn't hold your breath on thinking that these guys are in trouble or they're I know that Masai's not. Larry's not having Masai go anywhere. And Masai is with us for life. And Nick, that may be, but I don't think so. I think you may be surprised just how much trust and faith Masai has in Nick regardless, and that he is not in danger of losing his job as much as Raptor fans think he should be, some of them. He's not. I'll bet you he isn't. MK saying, I think Go-Go Gadget should lose a strike for making a great observation. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. Logical saying, what? Masai just resigned? It was a pretty big deal among real Raptor fans. I'm done watching my time with you. Not gonna lie. You type a lot, but don't say much. Generic takes. MK, you must have missed that too. Yeah, I don't know if I can. I'm not gonna give him a strike for that, Mike. I can't. A Go-Go saying at MK might not matter. May get booted after a few comments after being borderline toxic moments. At Logical Raptors Fanatic. How long was that contract? Nobody knows. It was never reported. Yeah, because it's like not worried about it. I've heard that it's at least 10 years. How about that? I've heard that it's at least 10 years. It's not a short contract. Trust me, it really isn't. It's a very much a long-term contract, the Masai contract. So let's see. Mike's saying it's been a year and a half. Again, relax, bro. You're not coming off good at the moment. Twisting Masai into Nick needing a contract is spinning the truth hard, bro. We know your agenda. Mike, I love that you're defending, but honestly, Gogo's not horrible right now. Gogo's, counterpoints aren't bad. MK is actually true, Raptors freak OG. He's been here for time. Another fail. Lex hasn't gotten to the new stuff. Well, he erased some comments that I didn't get to. There could have been some that he said in there that would have caused a strike, but he was smart and got out of there. It is what it is. MK has been here since the beginning. It's all good. Michael Furlani is saying you should hop on Penn State basketball post-game show. I don't know if he wants that smoke, Mike. I really don't. I get to talk here and you guys type, and I know I can talk faster than you guys can type. And now, of course, you guys are on a limited thing. But even with those kind of odds, and I came in there and he was talking and I was typing, I'd kill him. Seriously, I'm a very fast typer. And if there's no limit on how quick I can type comments, I'll run circles around him on Logic with the Raptors. He doesn't want the smoke. But I have thought about going into that arena and talking to him and doing this. And maybe something we build up at some point if it really does become a problem in time with him just being the opposite of what I am. We're a yin to a yang. And in some ways, I do really want to go in there and set him straight. But also in some ways, I don't want to give him validation in some ways also. But it would be fun. He doesn't want my smoke. Trust me. I will come in there and fuck him up. But good to see your name, Michael Furlano. I appreciate you being here. And I hope you'll join us more often. Every morning, 9:30, we're talking Raptors. And in a positive way to build towards Larry O'Brien's. We're not here to like just go after Fred and Nick. We do get critical of them, but we do it in a constructive way. Alistair saying Pascal has to be our point forward again, like at the start of the year when he was getting triple doubles. I like that. I don't mind that at all. I don't know what it is with Siakam right now. It's like he has amazing stretches where he's just amazing and electric, and then he has these little periods where he's low energy and he's struggling. It's been a pattern throughout his whole career. And there are much wider, longer periods where he is absolutely electric and amazing. So at least there's that progress. This may be that this is just a regular down point where he's just going to be like little shitty for a couple games, and then boom, he'll be back to it tomorrow. Hopefully that's the case. Hopefully that is the case. I do like him running point forward, and I do think you're right. In some ways, one thing that Siakam's done better this year is distribute and find other guys out of the double team. Last year, he really tried to force through the double team more often than this year, and he is passing out the double team more this year. And I give him a lot of credit for that. I appreciate that. Monique is saying, W Stream Lex, despite fans and people voicing their side of things up or down, keep at it. Regardless, go Raptors always. Yes, you go, Monique, and keep shine that positive light and being a good role model for Raptors Nation on how to cheer the team in a healthy, positive way. That is Monique. Denial's saying, no, don't go to Pensair. Yeah, I'm with you. I probably won't. But who knows? Maybe one day I might do that. Mike's saying, oh, geez, no, definitely pass on that. I don't know. If the timing is right and there's a good reason for me to go do it, I might. I've actually thought about it. Cool Cat saying, okay, I can't take this number one comment about Pascal. Come on, folks. I don't get why Pascal is so underrated by some of these Raptor fans because he's a unique success. So traditionalist thinking. I can get behind that, Cool Cat, and I understand what you're saying. And you know what? I love how Cool Cat stands up for Pascal. She's very much on the Pascal propaganda side, and I am with her almost all the time. But the one thing I will say is I wish he was the number one. I want him to have it. We've given him that spot for years now, but he's not doing it exactly correct. I want him to have this go home mentality where we're taking it home mentality. He doesn't have that. He can score and he can have these impressive games, but he's not clutch. He doesn't show up in the last 6 minutes of the game and just take over and take us home. It's never, ever him. And that is the thing that pisses me off about giving him the number one option label. Is the number one guy should be the guy. Historically, it is the superstar that takes you home and wins you the game. And he's not doing that. He never really has been good at it. And that's why a lot of us really do truly feel he's better off as a number two. And he could do a lot of the number one stuff on any given night and be very much a number one in most cases. But a true number one takes you home and wins the games for you. And he's just not doing it. I wish he would. Let's see. Logical saying, laughing my fucking ass off. His smoke is weak sauce. I had him defending Fred hard. His guests were agreeing with me. Been on. One time was enough. Relax, bro. You don't actually know here. Take a minute and realize things. Mike, you are really amped up today. I want you to take a break, Mike, and just chill. Go breathe. Go smoke a reefer or something. Go take a reefer cigarette break or something. You're very amped up this morning. You said it earlier, and I'm like, you're getting more and more amped up with engagement with some people on here. Mike said, I just said to go on the show. Why are you mad? Laugh out loud. I'm not mad at you. No, I'm mad at Pensair. I don't like that guy. I have a big problem with him. In a lot of ways, we are the antithesis of each other. I don't like his agenda. I think that, people say he's learned about basketball. He knows basketball, but he's very destructive force in the Raptors nation. He very much has a vendetta against Fred VanVleet that is that clouds his credibility. Because, like, honestly, some of the arguments he's made about Fred this past year have been absolutely stupid and asinine. And in some ways, I question why he makes content. In fact, I very much think that he's being paid by a fan of another team to cause confusion and problems in our fan nation. They do this in politics. They have fake people that come in the Democratic Party that are paid for by the GOP to cause confusion and different problems, weird messaging. And this is what's going on with him to a degree. So that's why I don't trust him. I don't actually think he is for the Raptors. I think he's for another team, and he is just causing confusion. He's an agent provocateur, so to speak. Kind of like when they had the riots during the Black Lives Matter, they sent white guys that were racist, came in and did shit, and it caused more destruction to make it look worse, that make it look like black people are doing more problems. This is what I'm talking about. I don't trust them in that way. And it's not that we're mad at you. We just have a lot of anger and against him. We don't like him. We're very much anti him, is what it is. Cool Cat saying it, Alistair, we moved away from what was winning us games before he got the groin injury. I saw it. So we were already moving away what was happening before Pascal got hurt in Dallas. This season is just, there's a lot of things I wish we would have gone better. And obviously things would have been smoother. G saying, what would your preferred starting lineup be in positions the next 5 off the bench? Well, if we want to do a traditional starting 5, I still like the starting lineup we have. It's just like what I said. The adjustment is Scottie is not the shooting guard. Scottie is the small forward or the power forward, and OG's the shooting guard. You put Fred and OG at guard. You got Pascal and Scottie at forward and Jakob at center. And then when you do switching off the bench, you do switch Precious for Jakob. I have no problem with Precious being the backup center. It's just if you can play him out there at that, you need to have another guy that's pretty big next to him. And you never, ever substitute that as the 5 for Jakob. It has to be Precious. If you have to have another guy play center after Precious, it should be either Scottie or OG or Pascal. It should never, ever be that. I'm sorry. It just doesn't work. And then, obviously you have Gary as your backup shooting guard. Hopefully Will Barton could show up and start contributing, and he could be the backup point guard. And then you have Precious and Chris and Thaddeus as like the backup forwards and center. So that's kind of what it is there. Mike is saying, Furlano, you're young. You will learn. It's okay. Just for clarity, I'm laughing at what Lex is going to say when your pinhead comment comes. You know what, Mike? I don't know what he said, and he didn't say anything wrong. He's a new person on this channel, so I'm giving you a strike. Mike, you're getting a strike. I don't like giving people that I know or regulars and I really love, but that's a strike. You're causing conflict with a newcomer on this channel who I don't even know yet. So I can't discern whether this guy's good or not. And you're already kind of coming at him. It's not worth it. Give him a chance. Everybody should have a chance to have free speech here. Now, if they say shit that's fucked up and we strike them out and they're gone, but you're getting the strike this time, Mike. I'm sorry. Because I'm not, first of all, you're calling him a pinhead. He hasn't said anything wrong in my book. What did he say that's wrong? And maybe you erased one comment that I didn't see, but still, you got to be careful, Mike, because I will give anybody a strike. Blackhawks saying, big up, Lex. The sun will come out tomorrow. We'll be in great shape. Go Raps. I love it. Blackhawks is hearing me. It's like, well, let's sing some Annie this morning. The sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow the Raptors will show up right. Tomorrow we'll beat the Wiz. Tomorrow we're going to kick their ass. It'll all be right. All right, there you go. There's a little impromptu song from Blackhawk. There you go. Van Hoot saying, Router Freak, bro, Kuzma was teammates with Yak and DeLon in college. Check your facts, bro. Oh, that's what it is. They were Utah guys. You know what? This is the thing. I'm going to tell you right now, Van Hoot, I do not follow college basketball at all. I quit following it. I used to when I was younger. Back in the day when Jordan was at UNC and like even Vince and Antoine at UNC and stuff like that. But I have a huge blind spot. I do not follow college basketball. I don't give a shit about it. I do not watch any of it. I'm not going to watch any March Madness. I have a huge blind spot with this. I'm very, very focused, laser focused on the Raptors and the NBA. And I don't have time to watch all the college. So forgive me for not realizing that they were all teammates on Utah. I forgot that. I honestly did. I actually knew that DeLon and Yak were there, but I forgot about the Kuzma being there too. So please forgive me. I have a huge blind spot when it comes to college basketball. I do not follow it at all. So that is why. So thanks for correcting me and clarifying it. I really do appreciate that. Alistair saying at Cool Cat, exactly, because this team is at its best when we play for him. And when we do, he's very similar to Luka and LeBron in terms of play style and numbers. So you're saying we really play behind SIAKAM and propping him up and letting him do what he does best, good things happen. I can agree with this. I can agree with this with Alistair. Mike saying, no hate for anyone here today. Passion boil at times, nothing to carry further. All right, there you go, Mike. That's the right kind of comment instead of the other one. All right, Michael is saying, you should go on next post game. You can talk to him, and it would be interesting to see two different points of view. I know, it probably would be. And Jason's agreeing 100%. Once again, I don't know. Listen, I know he has way more followers than me. And I know that his channel, he's trying to get follows and trying to get big. I'm not trying to do that necessarily. I'm in a little corner, a very specific niche corner for a certain part of Raptors Nation. And my ultimate goal isn't to get every single Raptor fan or to try and get people to click on my stuff by making controversial takes or being like just crazy like he is. So in some ways, I don't want to bring more attention to him, even though I'm not bringing a whole lot of attention. I don't know. I'm really have been going back and forth on this, whether I should engage with him or not. But we'll see. I mean, it would be fun. And if I do get there, well, I'll let everybody know so you can be there too. But I don't know. Once again, I don't take all the Raptors content in. There's just so much. I really support people like Mike, Logical Raptors Fanatic, Gubstown Clink, and other people that support me also, like Confederacy of Dunks, different people like that. But, Raptors Digest, Luca Rosano, Pensair, all these different other channels, I don't watch them. So it's like I don't really know what they're saying. I don't really care, actually, to a degree. People, I find out what they're saying usually from people in here come in and tell me, oh, this is what Raptors Digest was saying about this. And then I'll talk about it. But I don't really have any connection to his content other than I end up talking about him because people bring him up here is basically it. Van Hoot saying, Ed Furlano, if you are talking about the other tuber, but I don't think it's worth the conversation regarding Yak, Barnes has driven more since Yak has been here. Okay, so Van Hoot should know because he's kind of in the middle of all this, being a content creator himself, who has been a part of that channel that we've been talking about. And he's been here also as a regular. He understands, and he's saying it's not worth it. A lot of people are saying that it's not worth it for me to go there. And I'll trust the people that really know me more. In some ways, it may be entertainment value, and at some point, it may be very interesting to do. But it may not be this season. It may not be this season. Although things get really crazy near the end of the season, maybe I will. I don't know. Never say never is what I'll say. And I don't know if this can be built up like a WrestleMania match at some point. Maybe this is good. Maybe this should be Raptor Freak versus Pensair, and we could sell a lot of tickets, get a good buy rate. I don't know. We could see that. It might be fun. I'm all about it. Especially I'll take the disadvantage of being in the comments and him being able to speak freely. Oh, I'll take that disadvantage because I'm so fast at typing. Mrs. Malloy's typing class at Lincoln High School in Tallahassee, Florida. Ooh, she taught me how to type fast. I'm a stenographer. That's why I'm really good at typing. So I could get in there and get in the fight. I don't know. I'm so on the fence on it. Wayne's saying we can't start the game with our point guard looking for his shot. Imperative to start with everybody touching the ball. There's no downside to starting a game with the team concept first. Yeah. I want to see them set up an easy shot down low. Like that is really the way to start it. Why we start so flat? 0 for 10. Go get an easy basket. Get that ball dumped into Jakob and get him to get a short hook right away. That man is a 70% shooter. You should fucking give him the ball first and let him break the seal on the game so that we can get around that mental block of getting the first basket. You want to break the seal on the game. Get that ball down low to Poeltl. That's the highest percentage shot. And let him make a little baby hook and establish a presence in the low post. That will help open up everything. If you can do that right away, Nick, why are you not doing that right away? If not Poeltl, at least post Scottie or give the ball to OG down low to try and do that instead of starting with like a Fred VanVleet three-pointer or Pascal shooting threes first. That's never the way you want to start, by opening the game with a bunch of three-point attempts and clunking them. So bad. So bad. Yeah, I totally agree with Wayne. Alistair saying Pensair disrespects Pascal on the daily. It's messed up. See, I can't stand for that shit. I might lose my temper. And I might get really crazy. Seriously. I cussed Skip out on Skipping the King to the point. And the one appearance that I went on there, I was on their show a couple times. But like on the second or third appearance, when I went on there, I cussed Skip out in the middle of the show. I said, motherfucker, you just said something totally different than what you just said. And I cussed him. And that, I will do that. I'm a little bit of a loose cannon. And when I go on other people's content, they can't expect me to just play by the rules. I might fucking go off and just start cussing. Mike's saying, and I will lose my temper about Pascal, and I will say shit that I probably shouldn't say. Mike's saying, Furlano, I tried. It didn't take much of a difference in anything with him. Right back to say the contextless opinions, married to numbers as a crutch, and why his takes aren't great and miss incompleteness. Yeah, I mean, listen, he's said who he is. I'm not going to go in there and try and win him over. Like, what's the point? There's no reason to try and sway somebody's opinion if they're already set in their ways. So, what's the point? What's the point? It's just a waste of time. They're probably right. Denal's saying Rob disrespects everyone other than Scottie, and when he compliments other players, it's jaded. He thinks he knows everything, and it's hard to watch. He makes faces when he disagrees, rolls his eyes, etc. Well, that's one thing that I've really strove for on this channel. And in fact, on this stream today, when there are dissenting opinions from what I think, I try to really treat them in a respectful way and not denigrate the person that came up with them. In fact, I'll say that's a good point, but I don't necessarily agree. But I'm not saying that I'm absolutely right either. I'm just saying we got to agree to disagree. And I allow for other people to have opinions. Now, if he's not like that, if he's very denigrative towards people if they don't agree with them, well, then that's a difference in maturity. Let's just put it that way. Van Hoot is saying regarding my channel, Raptor Freak. Okay, cool. I want to hear this. It's been going well. Samson Folk shouted out my SIAKAM video. Awesome. Samson's awesome. I have a lot of respect for him and his takes and his opinions on the Raptors. You know, I love the fact that he's an official media member. And he should be. He's fantastic at his job, and I'm a big fan of Samson Folk. I fully endorse him for all things that he does. Jason's saying people got to stay out of their feelings. It's never that serious. The Raptors will be elite again. Jason, 100%. You go, Jason Williams. That's a great take. You know, it is that we really care. Like I've said before in the past that I'm like E.T. Is with the geranium. You know, when E.T.'s in that part where he's sad and sick, the plant is dying. And it's like if the Raptors are ET, I'm that plant dying next to them while they die. And I don't like being that connection, that emotion connection. A lot of Raptor fans have it. And when they're losing, it's really hard. We get frustrated, we get crazy. So it is good to have a healthy detachment from the team and what's happening if it's struggling. You can't let it rule your life and whether you're depressed or happy or not. I really was like that when I was drinking. I was so bad when the Raptors would lose. Bargnani and Bosch would lose, and I'd be fucking a horrible drunk, an angry, mean drunk. And that's why my wife left me. So I've learned some of these lessons about having a detachment to a degree and giving it up and saying, you know what, I can't control whether they're going to win or not. They're going to do what they're going to do. And I have to absolve myself of any feelings because I can't control this. You really got to realize that and pay attention to that. And Jason's exactly right. They're going to be elite again. They're going to come around. It's going to happen. And we're going to be, let the good times roll again. That will happen. It will come around. Jason's exactly right. Stellar comment. One of the best comments today. I love it. People stay out of their feelings. It's never that serious. Let's have some perspective, Raptors Nation. It's just a fucking game. Alistair saying at Go Gadget, I thought you were listening to Pensera. My bad, bro. Well, I don't know who's been listening to him or what is or not. Who cares? I'm sure there's a lot of people that I share an audience with. I know a lot of you guys still listen to Pensera, and that's fine. I'm not telling y'all it's me or him. So, you know, just do what you do. You're getting a more well-rounded perspective if you're listening to both of us. That's good. And maybe he is not totally horrible, and maybe there is some value in some of the things he says. But I don't know. From the way Mike describes it, he's so stat-based, and he has favorites. You know, you got to wonder if he's really unbiased in the way that he actually covers the Raptors. If he's so stat-based and so biased with certain players and against other players. Let's see. Mike's saying, I'm done, Lex. I know how he came in, but correct his context of wanting balance on the stuff. But duck smoke are big words for someone that's new, in my opinion. I'm here listening. It's all good, Mike. You're ramped up. Like I said, man, you're raring to go. And I don't have anything against that. It's cool. I love your passion. Your passion is always good, Mike. It's just I don't like name calling and I don't like personal attacks, especially because, you know, in some ways I'd like Michael to come back and continue to come to the station and join us. And I don't want you to drive him away by calling him a pinhead. So you got to balance this. You know, it's really if they're really toxic, yeah, we'll kick them out. But these guys are towing the line today. I don't think Michael's done anything wrong at all. And Gogo's towed that line just exactly right to be okay. Very close, but they're fine. They're fine. Gogo's actually a pretty cool person to have in the chat. I've enjoyed having Gogo Gadget in the last few months, even if we don't totally agree. Nameless is saying F Pensair, bro. That's right. I said it. There you go. Fuck Pensair. It's that simple. Michael's saying we're getting a little emotional in the comments. Let's speak rationally. Yes. Yes, I'm all for that. I mean, I do have a lot of emotion and passion, and I do stand beside these Raptors. Like it's like I'm in a military, and that is my nation and stuff like that. Sure, but it is true that like the detachment of being able to live your life and not be completely depressed because of a game like last night is important. Also, you have your own life. You got to still live it and like get past the Raptors losing, and give them a chance tomorrow. MSJ saying, ignore that guy. Something evil lurks. Oh, Van Hoot saying, Raptor Freak, that is understandable. I love all hoops. I follow college and I love FIBA. For everyone else, it's not worth it to show hate towards anyone. Some commentators will egg on content purposes for it. Yeah, I'm with you on this. I love that you're a responsible content maker and you're not stupid in those kind of things. It really is that sometimes Pensair will make his content just to trigger people, just to get more clicks. We know he's utilizing that kind of tactic. You just got to be aware of that. Yeah, there's just so much basketball in the world. Really, my world of vision of basketball is the Raptors specifically. I don't even watch other NBA games if the Raptors aren't involved. And some people may say, well, that's not very well-rounded. Well, it just means I'm very, very focused on them. And I do have a history of knowing the teams and all the players in the league. So I can kind of handicap them even without watching a whole bunch of Denver Nugget games and stuff like that. But then I've expanded to the G League now. And I really do focus on the 905 way more than I did like 2 years ago because it's more important now. I understand that to know them. And then I will follow like Team Canada basketball and a little bit of the CEBL at this point. But it's really Canadian basketball oriented. I do not get into the NCAA just because there's just so much. And for me, I really want to be an expert. And there's just too much to go over and find out. I can't be Jay Billis or what Fran Fraschilla or any of these guys that really know the fucking March Madness and the NCAA. I don't even do a bracket, guys. I don't do a March Madness bracket because I don't have any basis of knowledge in it. So I'm just like, it's not worth it. I'll just like, it's like me throwing darts. I'm just like, okay, I'll just pick Davidson. Okay. NC State. Okay. I'm not even picking it from anything from knowing anything. I'll just pick them for luck. Oh, that sounds good. Austin Pay. All right. Yeah, sure. Mike saying I'm emotional is comical. You're young, clearly. Once again, Mike, you're insulting people. We don't know how old anybody is that's in here. So once again, don't do that. I'm going to give you a half strike for downplaying saying people are too young and stuff like that. Don't say that specifically. I can say young people may be not good at having patience because of the instant gratification world, but you're specifically saying it to one person on this channel. And I don't like personal attacks. There's no reason to do that. There really isn't. I really try not to. Monique really loves Jason Williams' comment also. You're getting the super fan check of approval this morning, Jason, for having your mindset of just keep it separated, Masai's got ownership percentage in his contract too. Yeah, he's not going anywhere. Michael's saying, I am young, but I don't know why that matters. That's right, Mike. And I'm going to stand with Michael here. It's like, listen, so what if he's young? He's like, he found the Raptor Free channel. He's at least doing something right. So he's getting a little bit more of Raptors in-depth information and talking with all of us talking here and stuff like that. So he's smart, and sometimes I worry that my channel is not attractive to young people because I'm such an old guy and I make such crazy out of touch references. I'll start singing some old Fleetwood Mac song and they'll be like, what the fuck is he doing? Where he has puppets. And maybe I'm not that cool. I don't know. I would love a younger audience. I know that I'm maybe more attractive to people more my age, like, around their 40s and their 30s. But, anybody who's young here, I will highly sought after. I'd love to get more of a younger audience in some way. So, Mike, don't turn off my younger audience. This is bullshit. It doesn't matter if this man's young. There's very smart, intelligent young people. In fact, all right, I'm going to bring up another love of mine that I don't normally talk about here is the show Survivor. Survivor just started their new season 44 this week. And there's a young man on this season called Carson. He's a NASA scientist, and he's only 20 years old. And this kid, he gained 60 pounds or something just to be stronger for the season. They had a guy in the season before named Sammy. He was 19 years old, but he didn't tell anybody. He lied about his age. He was that smart. He started telling people he's 24. He didn't tell them he was actually 19. And I was like amazed at just how smart and capable and ingenious this Sammy guy was in season 43 of Survivor. So don't downplay young people in this way, because honestly, in some ways, the young people are going to be the ones that are going to save us in this fucking world that's burning down. I mean, they're the ones that are going to have the motivation because they're the future. They want to fix things because they ain't going to have no future if we don't start fixing things. So I have put a lot of responsibility on them to help clean up a lot of the dumbass mistakes that my generation and generations before me started. So I have a lot of respect and towards young people because I know they're the ones that are going to fucking save us. There you go. So Michael, welcome. Honestly, I hate that they're disrespecting you like that, and you have not done anything wrong in this chat. Honestly, I appreciate you. Let's see. Van Hoot saying, "Rabbit Freak, ignore this." Okay. All right. I see. Okay. Yeah, okay, that's good. Yeah. I'm glad Van Hoot's kind of keeping Mike in check too, and I don't need to exactly read that either. You're right. You're right. Mike's saying, "Do you worry? You do you worry you will when you're my age? It's all good. I'm just feeling the vibes after what my seasonal jersey purchase. It's a nice one. Fair points, Van Hoot, my guy. I'm in that check." People's basketball card mood. Okay, Mike's just live today. Listen, I've seen ranges of Mike. And I love Mike. See, I don't want to get y'all. I'm coming down on him for something, but this is a learning chance. This is a chance for some learning. Listen, some things. All right, listen. As much as ageism is wrong towards somebody like me who's approaching 50, ageism is wrong in the reverse towards young people too. And in some ways, there's this whole weirdness. Like a lot of young people are not wise enough to understand that an old head like me can teach them and teach them something. They're too arrogant. They're kind of like, yeah, I know everything. I don't need to listen to him. But when there's a young person that actually is like, oh, you know what? I will listen to an old head. You can't paint them all with the same broad stroke. It was just like they can't just paint all this old guys as being out of touch and stupid. It goes both ways. So I don't like ageism in either direction, whether it's towards young people or older people. Young people have so much at their fingertips for learning, and they can be so smart and astute and worldly because of the internet and the way that things are at this point. That in some ways, I really do have a lot of respect for young people that are driven and focused and do understand and learn and are really, in some ways, but there are a lot of knuckleheads too. So let's not make this about age. I think that Van Hoot is really right to give you that comment that I didn't read. And logical, listen, man, I love you, brother. I know you're live today. You're really feeling it. Did you sleep enough last night? I think that may be part of it, that you're going on all no sleep tonight. Yeah. Fun guy saying, how is young an insult? Well, it's just that maybe it's in the way he's putting it. It's like, oh, you're just a youngster. You youngster, get off my lawn. Some shit like that. I don't know. Michael's saying, I know my ball. I've been watching the game very close for 7 years now. I get more than one perspective to make a good opinion on certain points. See, that sounds like a very intelligent way to gather your perspective is listen to different sources, have critical thinking, think about it yourself and who you want to think, buy into or listen to and stuff like that. I don't know. Michael's never given the nod that he is a Pensairite or anything like that. I don't read him as that at this point. All he said is he thinks that it'd be interesting to see me go at it with him. And I think he's right. I don't think that's a really bad opinion or anything. So, you know what, Mike, you're good. You're good. Listen, and even if you've only been watching the Raptors for 7 years, we appreciate you. You can't help how old you are. You have a knowledge and a desire and a will and a passion for the Raptors. Then we're the same kind of person. That's all that matters. Let's see. Van Hoot saying, one of the beautiful things about the game is the different perspectives that come together and all mesh. Heck, the Raptors organization is literally about that from top to bottom. Yeah, I love that. I love that comment. That's true. We just got to find the way to mesh them correctly. And Nick, it may be you're at your piano with your players and you need to play the melody in a different time signature, or different keys need to be played at different times. The melody needs to be changed. You need to compose a different song with the same notes that you can use. It's not that you get different notes. The notes stay the same on the piano. It's just that you play the notes in a different order. or you find the right meshing or combination of notes to make beautiful music. And that's all we're asking. We know you can do it, coach. So let's figure out that right melody of when to hit those notes. Gary Trent Jr., Pascal, Scottie, OG, Gary Trent Jr., Pascal, Freddie, OG, whatever time signature or note thing you want to do with the treble clef and all that shit with writing the music. I'm not fucking knowing about writing music right now. But yeah, whatever you got to do, just figure out the right melody with the right notes played at the right times. Let's see, Denal saying exactly. People talking about being young, being new fans, etc., as casuals or as an insult is weak. Hate that logic. I'm a new fan, so I'm less important than a fan from 10 years ago? Not inclusive. This is something that I've struggled with in some ways in my history with the Raptors because I have to allow for new fans to come in, new blood, new enthusiasm. The championship opened the door for a whole new part of fans, and people call them bandwagon fans, but they're not all the same. Some of them are casual. Some of them don't understand. Some of them really get into it and they get hooked and they become like us. So I know that this is something that has been a problem for me in the past, that I would judge people on how long they like the Raptors. We talk about the OGs like Monique and I that were there from day one. Evelyn, there's certain people that watch this channel that have been Raptor fans since before the team even existed. They just were right way dead day one. That doesn't make us any more important in some ways than some of the more newer fans. It just means we've been around longer and we're older. But I think this is true. And this is something that I've had to fight with myself because I know I've been dismissive towards people and their opinion just on how long they've been watching basketball. And that's not totally fair. And it's something that I've had to work on myself. So I really like that we're having this conversation right now because it's important in the Raptors fan nation. Is at some point, all of a sudden, it became like a dick measuring contest. Like everybody on social media, on Facebook, was like, "Oh, I'm more of a Raptors fan because of this than you." And it's like everybody was trying to be more of a Raptors fan than each other, and it was so stupid and pointless. It's like y'all are all just Raptor fans. Why are you having like a measuring contest of like, "Oh, well, I've been a Raptors fan since the beginning, so I'm obviously better than you." Fuck all that shit. We're all just Raptor fans, and it is important for us to be inclusive. We want to be inclusive about people across genders, races, backgrounds, and everything about them. Well, we need to be inclusive about age also. And that's what that's a very big point. And some people in the Raptors fan nation just really want to be more of a Raptor fan than other people by denigrating them and putting them down and saying, you're not as much as a Raptor fan as me. Because at this point, that just shows your own insecurity. You don't need to do that. You're a Raptor fan. Just be a Raptor fan. There's no competition. It's such a weird phenomena in our fan base, but I'm sure it happens in all fan bases of all sports. You have newer fans and older fans, and some of the older fans get a little, club membership kind of like, oh, you haven't been here since Vince was around here. Oh, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? Mike saying that's smoke talking in the way he's using it. I knew his age. It's a common thing with younger people. It's about go and say something, and it's the way you change things. Life lesson: you can't change people with who won't. All right, Mike, I'm just going to ignore this at this point because you're continuing with this still, and it's not worth it. It's really not worth it. I use that smoke term now, but that's because I watched Scottie last year on Twitch. He was always talking about, you want that smoke in the NBA 2K3 game? You'd be talking to people on his, Mike, you don't want this smoke. Terrence Ross, don't you come and play 2K against me on here. You don't want this smoke. Scottie, I want your smoke. I'm coming. All right, T. Ross, let's play some 2K23. Bam, 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 bam. Scottie Barnes versus Terrence Ross. Damn, 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 damn. You don't want that smoke. So I started using it because he was using that. Or he'd be playing Call of Duty and he'd say, you don't want that smoke, literally. And he'd come over and he'd shoot everybody up. You don't want that smoke. So I really am learning from Scott, a young person. He's teaching me, an old, out of touch, middle-aged man, the young people terminology. So yeah, I want Pencere's smoke. No, he don't want my smoke. That's what's wrong. Yeah. All right, Cool Cat saying we should stop talking about who shall not be named on this channel. I agree with that. We don't need anyone to be curious. Leave negative energy alone and focus on our positive energy in positive spaces. In some ways, this is like I've brought this comparison up before. The WWE does not acknowledge AEW because they don't want to validate them. And in some ways, I want to have this kind of philosophy the less. I don't know if he brings me up or people bring me up on his channel. I hope I'm just as annoying and pestering on his channel. It's like, oh, well, Raptors Freak said this, Raptors Freak said that. I almost wish one of y'all would go in there and bring me up all the time in his comments and do the counterbalance of what's happening here with this here. That would be interesting to see how he handles it compared to how I handle it. It'd be very interesting. He may just like insult me and say all kinds of crazy shit about me, and it's his right. Fun guy saying this is going to hurt to hear, but past ideology matters less and less by the second. The sport advances at such a rapid pace that it actually relates more to young, modern. We're in the now and future, not 1990. Ooh, that does burn a little bit to an old guy like me. But there is some truth to this. There really is. But in some ways, the people are still trying to reconcile the past with the now. The whole thing about players missing games is at the crux of this in some ways, and softer players, and like just in some ways, the whole league is softer. It really is. But I don't know if that's necessarily better. Like, are the progress and the changes to the game better for the game? In some cases, maybe, but in a lot of cases, they aren't. We may be heading in the wrong direction. You look at the All-Star game this year and how bad it was. That is a canary in the coal mine for the game and how bad the NBA may be heading. So I don't know if it's better. I don't know if the improvements are better. And some people that know from the old perspective are saying, well, we need to go back to this because this worked better from back in the day. And that's kind of what I see with the load management arguments and maybe the style of play, or like superstar style of play versus team style of play arguments. I don't know. But I agree that it is changing quickly. And that as a coach, Nick Nurse needs to adjust and be ready for this change himself. Denal saying we need another name for him, Cool Cat. That takes up too many characters. I agree, though. Just sometimes we can come here to vent about that guy's takes because Lex brings calm. Yeah, it's all good. I mean, listen, he shouldn't be totally banned from here. I mean, honestly, I'm not about censorship. I mean, really I don't want censorship here. I want everybody to get their comment read. The only way you get censored is if you're not a positive fan and you're somebody that is really like trolling or, really, doing certain things. Like, I will strike you out, but that's really to not waste time in some ways. So, but I don't like censorship. I want y'all to write whatever the fuck you want to write in there. Now, my reaction to it should be free to be what it is. That's a whole part of it. So, Logical saying, not like this. I was too much today, and I will keep things in mind. Next time I use names of negative nature, I want to block the lowball criticism from loss today. We are too far in the weeds at the moment. Okay, Mike, I can tell you're on it, bro. You might need a nap, man. Either that or a lunch. You might need a lunch or a nap at this point. But, Mike, we love you, bro. Check out Logical Raptors Fanatic. You will know the real Mike from watching his content and not necessarily the strung out crazy one today. Michael saying at Cool Cat, I disagree. I think talking with other people in a civil conversation would be beneficial for both people. You know what it is, Michael? I've actually talked to Robert before. I've had interaction with him, just not on YouTube, on Facebook. And he's a lost cause to me. I don't see how I could get anything across to him and what I would want to get across to him. And I don't know what I could learn from him in reverse either. There probably is some things I could learn from him, but I don't even know if the lessons are worth like engaging with him. Let's just say I blocked him on Facebook 3 years ago because I didn't want to see his bullshit. I've not liked him for a while. It's not new. I'm not new with everybody not liking him recently. I've hated him for about 3 years. So this isn't even from YouTube. He's always been a toxic person in Raptors Nation as far as I'm concerned. And I called him out on it 3 years ago. And I haven't looked back. In fact, the To The Point guys wanted to have me on their show a couple summers ago with him as a guest. And we would have been on that show in the way that you're talking about. But when I heard that he wasn't going to be on the show, I refused. And in some ways, I have actually refused to do content with him so far. So you asking me to do that is actually something I've already decided I wouldn't do. So Cool Cat's actually on point because I have interacted with him before. There's no point to it to a degree. It would actually just be entertaining for y'all. We wouldn't get anywhere probably. Van Hoot saying someone is only a good Raps fan because they have been through traumatic years. Laugh out loud. Why we got a trauma bond? Well, there is some truth to this. There's some fans that don't like the losing and they will go away and they'll conveniently not be a Raptors fan this season. There's some people that will be not fans or not pay attention to them. But then when they're winning again, they'll come back and be like, yeah, we're back. Woo. Yeah, but were you here with us when we were really like going through the hard times? And there is some truth to this. And this is the reason why this matters, Van Hoot, is this. Listen, some of the unrealistic expectations for this team are based on what you just said. That some of these people have been around only during the time in the recent years that we've been really good for the most part, other than Tampa and this year. And that they're just used to us just always being good no matter what. And they don't really understand how bad we were back in the day and how hard it was to be a Raptors fan at the time, how it was not respectable. In some ways, I hid my purple gear in the 90s when I lived in Florida. I wore Raptor stuff and people laughed at me because it was a joke. It was, and some people didn't even think they were in the NBA. They didn't even know in like 1998. What team is that? They're in the NBA. Oh, I thought that was World Football League, the Raptors, or something like that. They say shit like that to me. So it's been a journey of getting respect. And in some ways, us old heads have had to go through the worst of the disrespect and the really like sad and pitiful times of winning 18 games in one season, like the second season of the Raptors. So there is some truth to this being like important because it's the perspective that they don't have. They don't understand how you can be really bad and lose really bad and have no hope as a team. And that's why that matters. It's not necessarily lording it over people. It's like, oh, well, you didn't have all the pain and you don't really know what it means to be a real Raptors fan. It's more that we know the pain and you guys aren't understanding that it could be much worse because we know the pain. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say there? I mean, I think that, we trauma bond. Yeah, we all trauma bond. Just like Philadelphia fans trauma bond over Kawhi's shot. Everybody in the Philly Nation is always going to have that. Oh, that was horrible when that shot happened. I broke my TV, stuff like that. Cool Cat saying, Jakob creates space on our drives to the rim. His height and width open the lane. He's a product of Pop's coaching. We have to give the Yak and Skills reunion a fair shot. 23 games left is too short. Yeah, no, he'll be around. Don't worry about this, Cool Cat. If you have any fears about him not being around, he's going to be around. Don't worry. Jakob will be around. He's not going anywhere. Trust me. And yeah, I think, like I said, the criticism of the spacing with Scottie and Jakob from earlier is just crazy. This just takes adjustment. They're going to adjust it. Michael's saying, what are your thoughts this past deadline with not trading PS and Fred? I love it. It was fantastic. It was the right move. And I totally agree with Messiah and Bobby. I thought they hit it out of the park in the trade deadline. A lot of fans were crying wolf and saying, oh, they didn't make a move. They didn't do this. They did exactly what I wanted them to do. They got a center. And they doubled down on their team and believing in them. And that's why I love what they did. Listen, Michael, you're new. You won't know this, but I highly super value our Raptors that were in the finals and played a lot of minutes and won championship. Fred and Pascal are two guys that don't get traded from this team. I don't give a shit. These guys have the Goonies treasure map to get back to Larry O'Brien, and they're more likely to help us get to another championship than if we trade them and let them go. So I highly value them. I do not want Fred to leave this summer, and I don't want to trade Pascal. In fact, everybody who's talking about trading Pascal is fucking bullshit and pisses me off. So I'm not in that camp, and that's a very big place where I am not with he who shall not be named. Is I value these guys way more than most people do, and I am not about getting rid of Fred or Pascal. I never will be because I understand their linkages to our championship, and if that is so important to our team. The linkages. We lost all our champions: Kawhi, Danny, Kyle, Norman, Serge, Mark. You want to fucking lose the last couple ones we got? That's fucking stupid. No, we don't want to lose the last couple ones we got. We need to have some linkages between our first championship and when we get our second one on Jakob Poeltl's next contract that he's going to sign. We're going to win a championship in the next contract that Jakob signs, whatever duration it is. If it's 3 years, we're going to win a championship within those 3 years. If it's 4 years, we're going to win a championship within those 4 years. Watch. And you remember I said this today. Van Hoot saying we haven't built around Pascal properly. Fred is likely on his way out either way. Pascal wouldn't have gotten you a fair offer that was worth his value, and even Idiot admitted that. Yeah, okay. I still don't think Fred's leaving for some reason. I have a really weird feeling. He said, like I said at the beginning of the year, he wants to be a Raptor for life. I gotta believe him when he says that. So until someone else goes the other way, I won't disbelieve him. I think he's gonna be back next year, and y'all be surprised he will be. He may not even take his player option, y'all. What if he just stays on the books for this contract right now? He's already on the books and paid for. It may be that like he decides, he's like, you know what, I don't want to take my player option. I did not play well this year. I think I may hurt myself if I take opt out. That may not be true, and I may be crazy for saying that. But what if he doesn't take his player option? He just stays on the books for what he's already to be paid for next year, $22 million. That he may do that. So he said this too. Like when people keep bringing up his contract situation, he said, "Y'all, I'm under contract for next year. I don't know why you're making a big deal out of this and whether I'm leaving." See, that's what Fred's saying. So that was why I don't think he's going anywhere. Gogo's saying team's going to have to pick a direction eventually, though. The two guys you want to build around are now 28 and 29. Didn't see any championship blood in there last night. Motherfucker, they're already champions. All right, you're out. I'm sorry. That's the last one. That's the last one, dude. They are champions, and I'm sorry, Gogo. That's it. That's it. You pushed it too far. That's not right, bro. That is not right. Once again, you're going to have to pick a direction eventually. We have picked a direction. You're not paying attention. It's with who we have, and it's not linear. It's going to go up and down. We're going to come back up. And like I said, what if there's a huge dump of a ton of development next year? And it's like, boom, all of a sudden, all the hard work, the tough up and downs of this year, it just all become clear that it was worth it because all of a sudden we're at a whole other plateau level of playing that's above where we are now. That like the development, we don't see it all. It's just like Pascal as an individual. You saw how he struggled in the earlier years, and then all of a sudden he got up to a new level of superstar. It's the same thing, but as a team. It's like he's got to go through this struggle. We've got to go through the struggle as a team, and then boom, it all just dumps, and all of a sudden, boom. But yeah, I don't like this saying you didn't see any championship blood in there last night. I understand. Yeah, they didn't look like championship type players, but that was last night. They are championship players. They have rings. And there's a huge percentage of the NBA that can't say that. So once again, that's disrespectful to our NBA champions, Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet. Denial saying, even if the person has never been a basketball fan before at Logical, they are still just as important. Everyone starts to love basketball at one at a time. Nobody born with ball advantage. The elitism turns new fans off. Yeah, I can agree with that. Maybe I shouldn't have dropped the hammer, but I'm just like, whatever. If you guys are okay with it, that was just too far. I'm sorry. I'm just sick of it, the negativity. And like seriously, Pascal and Fred have it. They just had a bad night last night. It could be that Siakam has like 100-degree fever or something right now. He does not look well. Mike's saying new or old fans doesn't matter. New Raptors fan that knows ball and has right opinions. Example, Chef. Wrong is wrong no matter how long you've been a fan. Stick to real basketball things and learning more. Well, there's no cut and dry right or wrong in the NBA world with opinion. So you can't really say that, Mike. And Chev's not a good example because he's been a very learned NBA fan for a long time. It's just he switched his allegiance to the Raptors after the bubble series. So I don't know. I listen. I think that what the denial said, the comment before is exactly right. We shouldn't have any elitism as far as that kind of stuff. We can have elitism in as far as like our perception of being positive fans, but I think we should be as inviting and welcoming to people in general overall anyway. So let's see. Cool Cat saying we just need to make a commitment to a direction and next year and build a team around that and tweak our way to a chip. It's time. I love that. I'm going to get done before 4 hours, guys, just so you know. Yeah, I agree with this. Get role definition and build off of that. Space Cadet saying Lex with the necessary hammer 90s theme plays. Na 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 hey hey hey. Space Cadet's like what was chomping at the bit, waiting for me to do that. And he kept dodging it. I know he retracted some comments that probably would have gotten to that strike earlier. But he was like towing that line just in case. That was just a little too much. I'm sorry. Van Hoos saying building around Pascal equals around Scottie because they have similar playmaking skill set, though Scottie is more advanced than Pascal at passing at an earlier age. Sadly, all fans will turn on Scottie. Freddie gets more not opting in. He gets more, paid more if he doesn't stay on his contract now. So you're saying opting out. Fred gets more not opting in. Yeah, if he opts out and he takes his player option. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like Fred, in some ways, you know what? You may really like give a good nod to the Raptors Nation fans that you don't do this, and maybe it really works out for you in some ways. I don't know. I don't know how to gauge this. Like even with the TV contract coming up with the NBA and the salary cap expansion, maybe it's smarter for Fred to stay on the books and redo his contract next year after the dust settles with the NBA and what how much people can actually make. He may actually get a bigger payment if he waits a year. So think about it that way. That could actually work out that way because the TV contract is known with the NBA all of a sudden. The pieces up high are bigger, and the Raptors feel more comfortable giving him an even more huge contract next summer. What if they do that? What if they tell him? Masai saying, "Listen, Fred, if you opt out, I won't give you much more than what you would make this year anyway. But if you wait and take your last year of your contract and we do you next summer when we know what the salary cap's going to be more like, then I can get you better then." And that's just patience and waiting to come around till then. I don't know. Is that a scenario that could be realistic that makes sense to Fred and to Masai and why you would do that? Is the I can pay you more next summer if you wait and you just stay on the books and you don't opt out? Could be. It could very well be. Monique saying, "Speak your mind, Lex. Good to hear it from you." Thank you, Monique. And you do too. I love your voice in this chat and just everything you do on social media. Michael saying, "Scottie needs to get to be a top 10 player in the next 2 or 3 years for this team to hopefully get back to title contention because Pascal and Fred are in their prime right now." Yeah, I can agree with this to a degree. I think that Pascal and Fred are in their primes, but to think that they can't get better, I think it's more likely that Pascal can still get better. Now, Fred, I'm not totally sure. His ceiling may be very near where it is as far as a player and what he can get better at. The things that he can get better at are old head, like being more like Kyle Lowry, vet kind of doing vet kind of stuff more and more. But the physical athletic stuff is not going to get better with him. So he really is going to have to get to be more smart and be that old smart head vet and making decisions and playing like Kyle would. So at least he has that role model in that way. Yeah, I agree with this. Scotty's got to be one of the top players in the league to really carry us to be at the top. But also don't poo-poo the development of Precious and Koloko next to him because those two guys could also make huge leaps that are a huge contribution to why our team just goes another level up also. So it's not totally all just on Scotty's shoulders. That development jump can happen with Precious and with Koloko also. So if maybe the three of them as an aggregate together have that jump all together, it can add up to it also instead of Scott having all solely on his shoulders. Name is saying trading Pascal. What a stupid idea. You'll never recover the value of that asset. Best a lateral move. Yeah, there's a lot already value built into him just because of how we got him and how we made him into what he is. And you lose that value as soon as it leaves the lot. He goes somewhere else, and all the stuff, the intangibles and the great things about him that have been built up within our team, they don't translate in some ways. They're now saying if it was up to Rob, he'd trade everyone but Scottie and bring in 16 more identical Scotties. That's his ideal team. Denal, you're one of my favorites. Logical saying, W stream, my bad. I ain't trying to push people away, which I might have today. I heard the criticism of myself and will keep this date in mind for lessons in the future. Mike, you're in development too. We're all in development. I'm in development. I have blind spots and stupid things that I believe too. And I need to be set straight on things too. I need to learn some of these lessons about being more welcoming and not such an asshole too sometimes, Mike. Not that you're an asshole. It's just you took the bait to being fighting a little bit too much on a one-on-one basis today. And that was not necessary. Make your points, make your valid points, and don't worry. We'll make the argument with you and we'll be on your side. But once it starts in the schoolyard, like nanny, boo boo, I'm rubber, you're glue kind of shit, yeah, then there's a problem. Van Hoot saying, if you're the Raptors, you don't want Fred to opt in and then have to renegotiate at the same time as Precious, OG, Pascal, and others. Bad idea. It's either now for a good number or move on. Okay, well, that's a good point in what I just said. So you rather him get done this summer because next summer is going to be even more difficult and muddled with the names that are coming up. Okay, that's a good point. I can see that. I don't know. There's not any real clear way that they're going to do things this summer. But I trust in Bobby and Masai. That's the basic, most important thing of being a Raptor for you. You got to trust Masai, and they're going to get this right. And if he decides that he wants Fred on this team still for next year, he'll make it happen this summer. But if he decides he doesn't, well, then that was Masai's choice, and we got to trust it for what he wants to do. Ultimately, that is all it is. All right, horrible game last night. The Raptors lost to the Wizards in the first game of this series. We need to win the next one for sure. This is a must-win for sure. 3 stars of the game for last night: OG Anunoby, Poeltl, and Chris Boucher. Good job by the Raptors 905 defeating the Mad Ants last night in a very, very stellar, awesome game. The 3 stars of the game for me on that one are Jeffrey Dowtin Jr., Sterling Brown, and Joe Wieskamp, with honorable mentions for Christian Koloko. So yeah, really, really good stuff, right? The 905, keep going in that direction. Beat the Mad Ants again tomorrow, and Raptors beat the Wizards tomorrow. I'll have the preview tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. as usual. And I appreciate everybody being here, old and new. We do not want to be elitists in that kind of way. The only thing that matters here for you to belong on this channel is that you want the Raptors to win Larry O'Brien's, that you want the Raptors to have positive things happening for them. Now, if you're putting stuff out there that's not good for the team, is negative or toxic, like somebody we talked about a lot today, then I'm not your friend. But if you're somebody who wants them to get better through constructive criticism, shining a light on how things can be fixed and get them better, then you're in the right place. Because we don't just tear down the players and the coach just to tear them down. We do it because we want them to win and succeed ultimately. And that is the most important thing that matters. And if you're that, you're here. All love to you, Michael. I really appreciate you being here. And you're rookie of the day, brother. You got the rookie of the day, baby. That's right. So please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you for helping me get to 600, everybody. You're a big part of it. And I hope we can get to 700 soon also. Please help me out if you can. And otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow. And let's go. We got to beat them tomorrow, Raptors. Don't play with your food. Make the adjustments, Nick. You look bad last night. You got to look way better. Monique, all the best. Let's go, Raptors!